Chapter 3038. Actually, I don't have any good ideas either. However, I do have some ideas. Ing Ching frowned slightly. After organizing his words, he said, based on the current situation, the overall strength of the Dark Demon race is still stronger than that of the Anti-Demon Alliance. If we go head-on against them now, we will suffer great losses. I think that we should focus on defense now. We should hold on to the territories that we currently occupy and slowly wear down the Dark Demon race. Even though the Dark Demon race has a lot of high-level combat power, if we continue to wear down their low-level combat power, they will be exhausted. In the end, they will only have a few high-level experts left. They will not be able to control the major star regions. After Ing Ching voiced his thoughts, Cheng Xingyi and Cheng Xingyi pursed their lips and looked pensive. Ing Ching's idea was not a bad idea. More importantly, avoiding an overly intense battle could reduce some of the casualties. It was just that this kind of battle gave people the feeling that they were too passive. It made people feel very depressed. I don't think so. After hearing Ing Ching's thoughts, Mo Qingyun shook his head. With a serious expression, he said, "You should know very well what the Dark Demon race's cultivation is based on. If we keep retreating and only defend a part of the star regions, then the star regions that the Dark Demon race occupies will become the source of their bloodline supply. The major tribes in this region will be like cauldrons. They will forcibly extract their bloodline and use it as cultivation resources. At that time, the number of great emperors in the Dark Demon race will increase." When Mo Qingyun said this, Cheng Xingyi's expression changed drastically. He immediately felt uneasy. Mo Qingyun's worries were not groundless. Without waiting for Cheng Xingyi to speak, Mo Qingyun continued. Furthermore, once the Dark Demon race has gained a foothold, the forces and tribes in the major star regions will become their slaves. They will have no choice but to listen to their orders. At that time, do you think they will still send their people to fight us head-on? At that time, they will order the people of the main clans and clans to kill us. Cheng Xingyi nodded in agreement when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He said, "Young Master Mo's considerations are very reasonable. We really can't give the Dark Demon race a chance to catch their breath. Even if we end up being smashed to pieces right now, we have to fight them to the death. Although there will be a large number of casualties if this continues, it is safer this way." Mo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction when he saw Cheng Xingyi agree with him. He said, "That's why I think the best choice is for me to kill the great emperors, great saints, or some weaker saint emperors of the Dark Demon race and weaken their top battle strength. As long as we weaken their high-level combat power, the remaining low-level clansmen won't be a problem. They won't be able to fight a war of attrition against us." After listening to Mo Qingyun's remarks, Ing Ching's expression changed, and he didn't say anything else. On the other hand, Xue Chunying's expression was gloomy. She looked at Mo Qingyun and didn't know what to say. "You are only an advanced sector lord, and you keep talking about killing great emperors, great saints, and saint emperors. Is this really a good idea? If others didn't know, they would think you were a saint emperor." Ignoring Xue Chunying's feelings, Mo Qingyun chatted with Cheng Xingyi for a while before standing up and said, "Senior, it seems like the situation here has stabilized. I won't stay any longer and will go to the other battle zones to take a look." "All right." Cheng Xingyi nodded. Understanding Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Cheng Xingyi naturally wouldn't stop them and said, "I will send you out." Soon, Mo Qingyun and Xue Chunying left under Cheng Xingyi's escort. "Brother Xue, lead the way." After leaving the eastern battle zone, Mo Qingyun told Xue Chunying to continue leading the way. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Xue Chunying didn't say anything else and led the way. Around 2 hours later, under Xue Chunying's lead, Mo Qingyun and Xue Chunying arrived at the western battle zone. The situation in the western battle zone was slightly better than the eastern battle zone. There weren't any intense battles. The situation here was just as Ing Ching had said. There were only some low cultivation level soldiers fighting against the Dark Devil race. Other than that, the western battle zone was slightly stronger than the eastern battle zone. There were 2 saint emperors overseeing the battle zone. Greetings to the two Saint Emperors. Leading Mo Qingyun into the western battle zone, Shui Chunying greeted the two middle-aged men respectfully. Seeing Shui Chunying's actions, Mo Qingyun also had a humble expression on his face as he cupped his hands towards the two of them. The two middle-aged men waved their hands indifferently at Mo Qingyun and Shui Chunying's greeting. They looked at Shui Chunying and said, "Great Saint Shui Chunying, do you have something important to tell us by coming to the western battle zone?" As for Mo Qingyun at the side, he was ignored by everyone. They probably thought that Mo Qingyun had come with Shui Chunying to broaden his horizons. After all, Mo Qingyun's cultivation level was only at the advanced sector Lord Realm. Shui Chunying shook her head and pointed at Mo Qingyun. She said, "Mr. Mo and I have indeed come for some important matters." After briefly explaining their intentions, Shui Chunying introduced everyone to each other. She said, "Saint Emperors, this is young Master Mo Qingyun, the husband of the Absolute Beginning Demon Hall's Hall Master. Mr. Mo, this is Saint Emperor Zhou Jing, and this is Saint Emperor Ingwudi. They are currently in charge of the Western Battle Zone." After Shui Chunying's introduction, Zhou Jing and Ingwudi scanned Mo Qingyun a few times. They seemed to be rather curious about Mo Qingyun. With Mo Qingyun's cultivation level at the advanced sector Lord Realm, he could actually attract Shui Chunying's attention. Zhou Jing and Zhou Jing sized Mo Qingyun up. Mo Qingyun looked at Ingwudi instead, and a wisp of surprise flashed through her eyes as she said, "This person's aura seems to be extremely similar to Ingqing's. Could he be?" This guess shocked Mo Qingyun once again, and his heart couldn't help but thump. Looking at the way they were fighting, Mo Qingyun was immediately certain that Ingwudi was also from the Tianyi tribe. "May I know how Saint Emperor Ingwudi is related to Supreme Sage Ingqing?" Mo Qingyun guessed. He didn't try to hide it and asked Ingwudi directly. Ingwudi was calm in the face of Mo Qingyun's question. He replied casually, "Ingqing is my nephew. Mr. Mo, do you know him? We just came from the Eastern Battle Zone. I met him once." Mo Qingyun replied calmly. He looked at the battle zone not far away. His heart sank even more as he thought, "I didn't expect the Tianyi tribe to have a Saint Emperor. This is really beyond my expectations." The more Mo Qingyun thought about it, the more his apprehension about the Sky Forsaken tribe became. Chapter 3039. The Great Emperors have joined the battle. Everyone retreat. While Mo Qingyun was observing the battle, Ingwudi's expression turned cold. He immediately gave the order to retreat. Under Ingwudi's command, the Anti-Demon Alliance quickly retreated back to the camp. As the Anti-Demon Alliance retreated, the Dark Demon race's Saint Emperors began to slaughter the Anti-Demon Alliance's men. "Great Emperors, help them!" Zhou Jing's expression became tense as he saw the soldiers of the other forces being killed. He gave the order to the Great Emperors beside him. Hearing Zhou Jing's order, the Great Emperors flashed and went to meet the Great Emperors of the Dark Demon race. Very soon, the Great Emperors from both sides began to kill each other. "We're being too passive." Mo Qingyun furrowed his brows as he watched the battle between the two sides. He was somewhat dissatisfied. Then, Mo Qingyun did not want to stand by and watch. He asked Zhou Jing, "Senior, my cultivation level is not higher than the Great Emperor realm. It's not against the rules if I participate. I'll go and help the soldiers retreat." "You?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhou Jing's expression froze, and a hint of doubt appeared in his eyes. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's participation would not be of much use since it was a battle between great emperors. However, Mo Qingyun also had good intentions, so it was not good for him to say anything. Seeing that Zhou Jing had misunderstood, Shui Chunying added, "Great emperors, you may not know this, but Mr. Mo's combat strength is outstanding. He has no problem dealing with great emperors." "Oh." Zhou Jing was stunned. He looked expectant and said, "If that's the case, I'll allow you to fight. But you have to be careful." "Okay." Mo Qingyun nodded. With a flash of his figure, he flew toward the battlefield. With a few flashes, Mo Qingyun entered the battlefield and attacked a Saint Emperor. He waved the divine sword of 9 bulls in his hand and slashed out a ray of sword light toward a great emperor. You're overestimating yourself. Sensing Mo Qingyun's cultivation level, the great emperor who was attacked showed disdain. He did not even bother to dodge. He just waved his hand at the sword light. A junior in the advanced stage of the Sector Lord realm was not a threat to him. The great emperor waved his arm and blasted out a light shadow to meet the saber light head-on. When the saber light came into contact with the light, it pierced through it and slammed into the great emperor's body. Bang! After being hit by the saber light, the great emperor was sent flying. His face was filled with shock. He really did not expect that Mo Qingyun's sword ray would be able to penetrate his saint power. Before he could recover from his shock, the great emperor of the Anti-Demon Alliance, who had fought with him before, slammed his palm on his head. How can this be? The Dark Demon race's great emperor died unwillingly after being hit by the great emperor of the Demon Resistance Alliance. After killing one great emperor from the Dark Demon race, Mo Qingyun did not stop. He attacked another great emperor from the Dark Demon race. He injured a great emperor with one strike. He's really strong. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Zhou Jiying was shocked. He looked at Mo Qingyun in a different light. The strength that Mo Qingyun had just displayed was not something an ordinary great emperor could compare to. After knowing Mo Qingyun's strength, Zhou Jiying was delighted. He said, "With Mr. Mo's strength, he's almost invincible against great saints. If he specializes in killing great emperors, the Dark Demon race will suffer a great loss." Upon hearing Zhou Jiying's words, the great sage powerhouses standing beside him nodded in agreement. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Wudi had a different opinion. He said, "Great Emperor Zhou Jiying, we can't let him continue killing. If too many great emperors from the Dark Demon race die, the Dark Demon race will be forced into a life and death struggle. This will be very disadvantageous for us." Hearing Wudi's words, Zhou Jiying frowned. He was very confused. Logically speaking, the Alliance and the Dark Demon race were already in a state of irreconcilable conflict. Now that Mo Qingyun had attacked and killed more Dark Demon race members, it should be something they could not ask for more. But Wudi had stopped them. This was very puzzling. While Wudi and the others were talking, the battle between the two sides had ended. The Dark Demon race was running for their lives. "Mr. Mo, you're too rash. How could you anger the Dark Demon race like this?" Seeing Mo Qingyun come to his side, Wudi was unhappy and reprimanded Mo Qingyun. Hearing Wudi's reprimand, Mo Qingyun frowned and said, "Great Emperor Wudi, I don't understand what you're saying. We're fighting against the Dark Demon race. I should have contributed greatly by killing the great emperors of the Dark Demon race. How could it be a mistake when it comes to you? If you're so worried about angering the Dark Demon race, we should just surrender." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhou Jiying and the others nodded in agreement. Impudent. Wudi was furious when he saw Mo Qingyun talking back to him in front of so many people. Immediately, the aura of a great emperor crushed towards Mo Qingyun. A junior in the advanced stage of the Sector Lord realm dared to talk to him like this. If he didn't punish him, how could he convince the others in the future? Mo Qingyun didn't care about Wudi's pressure at all. He said indifferently, "Great Emperor Wudi, is this how you treat your meritorious subordinates? Are you trying to make them bleed and cry? I want to ask, whose side are you on?" Seeing Mo Qingyun not backing down, Wudi's face turned even uglier. His eyes flashed coldly. Seeing the heavy atmosphere, Xue Chunying immediately stood out and laughed. "What are you two doing? We're all on the same side. Let's sit down and talk." "That's right." Seeing Xue Chunying trying to smooth things over, Zhou Jiying also stood out and said, "This time, with young Master Mo's help, we fought against the Dark Devil race. It can be said that we obtained a complete victory. We should properly celebrate and not be unhappy over small matters. Let's go. Let's go back to the camp and celebrate." Mo Qingyun's face turned better under Zhou Jiying and Xue Chunying's persuasion. He nodded at Zhou Jiying. Soon after, Mo Qingyun followed Zhou Jing into the camp. Mr. Mo is so strong. He dares to talk back to the great emperor. Geniuses have some pride, but talking back to the great emperor is too reckless. Mr. Mo is right. He killed the great emperor of the dark demon race. He should be rewarded. How can we punish him? Forget it. Let's leave this to great emperor Zhou Jing. He'll take care of it. Looking at Mo Qingyun's back, the great emperors and great saints chatted for a while and followed him. Soon, they entered the meeting hall and waited for Zhou Jing's instructions. Chapter 3040. In the meeting hall of the Dark Demon Race. After losing track of Mo Qingyun, Holy Emperor Yingling and the others returned to report the result of the encirclement. Did we let him escape? Kaiser Blood was shocked to learn that Mo Qingyun had been killed from Holy Emperor Yingling and the others. Obviously, he did not expect that 3 holy emperors would not be able to take down Mo Qingyun. Kaiser Blood pondered for a moment before he said, "It seems that Mo Qingyun is indeed not simple. We can't underestimate him. Otherwise, if he continues to grow, he may become a hidden danger to our race. I have nothing to do recently. The next time we find Mo Qingyun, I will go with you." Everyone in the hall was shocked to hear Kaiser Blood's words. They thought they had heard it before. In their opinion, no matter how talented Mo Qingyun was, he was not worthy of Kaiser Blood's personal intervention. At this moment, as everyone was talking, an old man walked into the hall. Kaiser Blood was curious to see the old man enter the hall. He asked, "Great Sage Zi Kai, how is the situation at the front line? Is the anti-Mo alliance still resisting?" "Yes." Great Sage Zi Kai nodded and said, "Kaiser Blood, there is news from the front line. A late sector lord has joined the battle in the east, west, and south. The great saints and great emperors have suffered heavy casualties because of a young man in the advanced stage of the sector lord realm. We request reinforcements." Kaiser Blood and the others were shocked when they heard the old man's words. A person appeared in their minds. Mo Qingyun had gone to the anti-Mo alliance and joined the battle to kill the great saints and great emperors of the dark demon race. He has gone to the anti-Mo alliance. That saves me the trouble of looking for him. Kaiser Blood sneered after knowing Mo Qingyun's identity. He said, "If that's the case, let's go together and fight the anti-Mo alliance. Also, immediately pass down a message and have everyone gather." Hearing Kaiser Blood's words, Zi Juaho and the others pondered for a moment, then nodded in agreement. Now that their enemies were all gathered together, they no longer needed to search for them. They could get rid of them once and for all. Let's set off now to fight against the anti-demon alliance to prevent any unexpected events from happening. As soon as Kaiser Blood finished speaking, he stood up and walked out of the great meeting hall. Seeing Kaiser Blood's action, Zi Qingrong and the others did not hesitate and immediately followed him out of the conference hall. Kaiser Blood led a group of people away from the Dark Demon tribe. Mo Qingyun was unaware of the arrival of Kaiser Blood and the others. In the conference hall of the Anti-Demon Alliance, not long after Mo Qingyun and the others sat down, Zhou Jing ordered people to bring in some fine wine and delicacies. When the fine wine and delicacies were served, Zhou Jing smiled faintly and raised his cup to Mo Qingyun, saying, "Young Master Mo, thank you for your righteous actions and for forcing the dark demons to retreat." Seeing Zhou Jing's action, some of the great saints and great emperors in the hall also raised their glasses to Mo Qingyun. While everyone was thanking Mo Qingyun, Shui Chunying smiled and said, "You may not know this, but Mr. Mo just showed off his skills in the Western Theater of Operations. He killed several great saints and more than 10 great emperors of the Dark Demon tribe." Hearing Shui Chunying's words, the faces of everyone in the hall revealed shocked expressions. It had to be said that Mo Qingyun's battle record was really frightening. In the Anti-Demon Alliance, even some of the great emperors were not as strong as Mo Qingyun. After learning of Mo Qingyun's astonishing battle record, Zhou Jing calculated in his mind and revealed a pleasantly surprised smile. If that's the case, The gap between us and the Dark Devil race's upper echelons has narrowed by a lot. This way, even if they launch a fierce attack, we don't have to be too afraid. After Zhou Jing finished speaking, Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "This is just the beginning. Wait until I go to the Dark Demon Tribe's camp a few more times and kill some more great saints and great emperors. Then, the Dark Demon Tribe will not be able to take over the major star regions." Upon hearing Qingyun's words, Zhou Jing and the others all had expectant looks on their faces. If Qingyun really did it, the Dark Demon Tribe would feel powerless even if they had great emperors. While everyone was looking forward to it, Wudi snorted and said, "We only have 7 great emperors on our side. On the surface, the Dark Demon Tribe has 11 great emperors, including Kaiser Blood. If we push them too far, how can we resist the 11 great emperors?" Hearing Wudi's worries, Zhou Jing and the others immediately frowned. There was a huge difference between 7 great emperors and 11 great emperors. Seeing everyone's reaction, Qingyun said calmly, "Everyone, we don't only have 7 great emperors. Including 1 great emperor from Taichu Demon Hall, we have 8 great emperors in total. I can also keep 1 great emperor busy. When the time comes, it shouldn't be difficult for the great saints of the Anti-Demon Alliance to keep 2 great emperors busy, right? As for the Emperor Realm experts, they will lead the soldiers to encircle the troops of the Dark Demon race." After Qingyun explained his idea, Zhou Jing and the others nodded in agreement. They felt that it was a very good idea. "In that case, we will follow Mr. Mo's plan. We will support it fully." Zhou Jing thought about it, and still felt that Qingyun's plan was more reliable than Wudi's. Wudi didn't say anything after hearing Zhou Jing's words. His face darkened even more. Qingyun didn't care about Wudi's reaction. He chatted casually with Zhou Jing. During his conversation with Zhou Jing, Qingyun learned from him that the Northern War Zone had stopped fighting for the time being. "In that case, I don't need to go to the Southern Battle Zone. I should go to the smaller battlefields." After learning about the situation of the 4 battle zones from Zhou Jing, Qingyun had a plan. He said, "Senior, I'll have to trouble you to gather information so that I can go to the smaller battle zones." "Okay." Zhou Jing agreed without hesitation after hearing Qingyun's request. At this moment, while Qingyun and the others were talking, a commander walked in quickly and said, "Great Emperor, we just received news that the Dark Demon Tribe has retreated. They're gathering in the Eastern Battle Zone." After hearing this news, Qingyun and the others were shocked. Their hearts immediately sank. At this moment, they could vaguely feel that the Dark Demon Tribe was going to fight to the death. If I told you. Now it's true. After hearing about the Dark Demon Tribe's actions, Wudi sneered and looked at Qingyun with schadenfreude. Qingyun ignored Wudi's mockery. He said, "Senior, since the Dark Demon Tribe is gathering, we can't delay any longer. We have to go to the Eastern Battle Zone immediately." After hearing Qingyun's suggestion, Zhou Jing didn't hesitate at all. He immediately ordered his men to gather. Chapter 3041. We don't know what's going on in the Western and Northern theaters. We have to inform them as soon as possible. Thinking of the 2 theaters, Zhou Jing sent people to inform them to gather in the Eastern Theater. Seeing that Zhou Jing was organizing his troops, Qingyun didn't want to stay idle. He stood up and said, "Senior, now that the Dark Devil race is organizing their troops, there will definitely be some panic. I will chase after them and disrupt their assembly." Zhou Jing thought about Qingyun's idea, then nodded in agreement. "Let's go." After informing Zhou Jing, Qingyun didn't want to delay and left with Xue Chunying. Wudi's face darkened as he watched Qingyun and Luo Yunyang leave. This kid is really too much of a troublemaker. His rash actions have completely ruined our plans. Hearing Wudi's words, Zhou Jing frowned slightly. He turned to look at him and said, "Brother young Master Mo is also very enthusiastic. Besides, his suggestion is not bad. We can give it a try. Speaking of which, we've been on the defensive. We've been in a stalemate with the Dark Demons for a while, but we've been losing. We can't go on like this. Maybe we could try Mr. Mo's idea. There might be unexpected results. Ingwudi snorted at Zhou Jing's persuasion. Results? We haven't seen any results. Instead, we've angered the dark demons and put them in a more passive position. Zhou Jing didn't say anything else. He didn't want to talk about this anymore. He could see that Mo Qingyan didn't follow Ingwudi's idea, which made Ingwudi unhappy. In that case, there was no point in him continuing to explain. While Zhou Jing and Xue Chunying were talking, the soldiers were all reorganized. Let's go. Seeing that, Zhou Jing didn't hesitate and led his men to the Eastern Theater. After leaving the Southern War Zone, Mo Qingyun and Xue Chunying hurried on their way to find traces of the dark demon race. Mo Qingyun and Yi Zichen didn't have to search for long before they saw a group of people heading towards the Eastern War Zone. A great saint and 2 great emperors are leading the team. Let's destroy them. Seeing the strength of the team in front of him, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate at all and directly charged towards them. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Xue Chunying did not hesitate and hurriedly followed behind Mo Qingyun. Soon, the 2 of them caught up to the group of people and engaged them in battle. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and arrived beside a great emperor, launching an attack on him. Go! When Mo Qingyun made his move, he tossed his right hand, and a ball of purple light flew out from his hand. It didn't take long for the purple light to expand and envelop the great sage. The great sage expert was enveloped, and the remaining 2 great emperors were slaughtered by Mo Qingyun and Li Wuyo in the blink of an eye. You go kill those soldiers. I'll take care of that great sage. After dealing with the 2 great emperors and giving Xue Chunying some instructions, Mo Qingyun put away the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. With the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell in hand, Mo Qingyun released the great sage of the dark demon race and slashed at him. The divine Nine-Bull sword flashed brilliantly and blasted out a ray of sword light towards the great sage. So strong. Sensing the might of Mo Qingyun's sword, the great sage of the dark demon race immediately fled for his life, not daring to fight with Mo Qingyun. Seeing the great sage running for his life, Mo Qingyun sneered and chased after him. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and a winged sacred power Pegasus formed beneath him. Riding on the sacred power Pegasus, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times and caught up to the great sage of the dark demon race. Sky-shattering tyrant dragon fist. After catching up to the great sage, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any time and directly threw a punch at him. Facing Mo Qingyun's pursuit, the great sage of the dark demon race was immediately enraged. He said, "You've gone too far. If you want to keep me here, you'll have to pay a heavy price." As soon as the great sage of the dark demon race finished speaking, he stopped running and took the initiative to charge at Mo Qingyun. Boom! The 2 fists collided and immediately exploded with a loud bang, creating a terrifying wave of sacred power. However, as soon as the sacred power wave spread out, a figure was sent flying, spraying a mist of blood, injuring a great sage with 1 punch. So strong. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's punch, Xue Chunying's expression trembled and her eyes were filled with intense shock. Under Xue Chunying's shocked gaze, Mo Qingyun didn't stop and continued to chase after the great sage. By the time Mo Qingyun caught up to the great sage of the dark demon race, he was already in an extremely sorry state. The arm that he used to exchange blows with Mo Qingyun earlier was completely crippled. Die. However, Mo Qingyun didn't feel any pity for the great sage of the dark demon race, nor did his heart soften. Back then, when the dark demon race killed Long Hanyan, he had decided to exterminate the dark demon race. Mo Qingyun threw a punch and arrived in front of the great sage, his fist aimed for the great sage's head. "Kid, if you want me to die, you'll have to die with me, haha." In the face of Mo Qingyun's attack, the great sage of the dark demon race didn't dodge. Instead, he laughed maniacally. Immediately, the aura he exuded began to go berserk. He's going to self-destruct. Sensing the great sage's actions, Mo Qingyun was shocked and immediately took out the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Then, Mo Qingyun used the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell to envelop the great sage. Boom! A loud sound was heard. A terrifying storm of saint power swept wildly in all directions with the great sage of the dark demon race as the center. Under the impact of this storm of saint power, the surrounding dark demon race soldiers were instantly turned into ashes. Xue Chunying, who was slaughtering the dark demon race soldiers, noticed it quickly, but she was still sent flying by the impact. Xue Chunying spat out a mouthful of blood and barely managed to stabilize her body. She looked at Mo Qingyun. Xue Chunying said worriedly, "The power of a great sage's self-destruction is extremely terrifying. If Mr. Mo is swallowed by it, will he be able to survive?" Under Xue Chunying's worried gaze, the storm dissipated bit by bit, slowly revealing a large purple bell. Seeing the large purple bell, Xue Chunying's expression relaxed. She knew that Mo Qingyun was fine. Under Xue Chunying's gaze, the large purple bell gradually shrank and fell into Mo Qingyun's hand. "Let's go." After coming out of the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste any time and left after saying a few words to Xue Chunying. On the way back, the two encountered many more dark demons and slaughtered them one by one. After killing nearly 10 waves of people in a row, Mo Qingyun returned to the Eastern Theater of Operations and found Zhuo Qinglong and the others. When Mo Qingyun found Zhuo Qinglong, the people from the Western Theater of Operations had already arrived. When they saw Mo Qingyun arrive, they all nodded at Mo Qingyun to greet him. After greeting everyone, Mo Qingyun found Lei Muan and the others to discuss the next plan. End of chapter. Chapter 3042. The Dark Demon Race's battle power is far greater than the Alliance's. The situation doesn't look too good. Mo Qingyun frowned as he walked to Lei Muan's side. He could not help but feel worried. The Dark Demon Race's sudden unification had completely exceeded his expectations. It had disrupted his plans. And Qin smiled when he heard Mo Qingyun's worry. He seemed to be in deep thought as he said, "Although the Dark Demon Race is strong as a whole, they're weaker than us right now. If we can kill a few Saint Emperors at this stage, the situation will be different." Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up when he heard Qin's idea. He felt that it was a good idea. The Alliance had about the same number of great saints and great emperors as the Dark Demon Race. Their only weakness was the number of Saint Emperors. If they could really kill 2 Saint Emperors, the Alliance would not need to be afraid, even if the Dark Demon Race mobilized all of their forces. "I'll go and discuss with Senior Zhuo and the others." Mo Qingyun did not want to waste any time after hearing Qin's idea. He immediately walked to Zhuo Qinglong. When Mo Qingyun walked to Zhuo Qinglong's side, Wudi and the others had arrived. They were discussing with Zhuo Qinglong with heavy expressions. "It's all your fault for causing this situation." Wudi snorted when he saw Mo Qingyun walk over. He said unhappily, "You caused this situation. You have to deal with it perfectly." Wudi's complaint caused some people's attitude toward Mo Qingyun to change. Then, someone scolded Mo Qingyun. "Mo Qingyun, it's fine if you don't want to join the Alliance. Now that you've brought the true primordial demon palace to join us, you've already caused so much trouble for us. If you don't give us a reasonable solution, don't blame us for being rude to the true primordial demon palace." Zhuo Qinglong and the others frowned when they saw the reactions of the people around them. They were all in a difficult position. Although they were optimistic about Mo Qingyun, if they didn't handle the relationship well, it might cause the Alliance to break apart. The Anti-Demon Alliance was already no match for the Dark Demon Race. If everyone were to split up, they would be wiped out one by the Dark Demon Race. "Little friend Mo, given the current situation, do you have any good ideas?" After pondering for a while, Zhuo Qinglong looked at Mo Qingyun expectantly and asked for a solution. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the other people's scolding and dissatisfaction. He glanced at everyone with a faint smile and said, Everyone, I'm here to give you a suggestion. If you think it's feasible, we'll immediately carry it out. When Mo Qingyun spoke, everyone's curiosity was piqued. Expectant expressions appeared on their faces. If Mo Qingyun really had a way, that would be for the best. Little friend, please speak. Zhuo Qinglong nodded. Mo Qingyun nodded in response and said, I've just observed. Currently, there are only 5 saint emperors, 36 great saints, and 152 great emperors among the Dark Devil race's forces. Although we don't have as many great saints as the Dark Demon race, we still have a little over 30 great saints and over 100 great emperors. The difference between the two sides isn't that big. Most importantly, we have 8 saint emperors on our side, 3 more than the Dark Demon race, said Jianshun. If we launch a fierce attack now, before Kaiser Blood and the others arrive, we can kill or severely injure 2 saint emperors. Even if Kaiser Blood and the others arrive, we won't be at a great disadvantage. Everyone, this is our only chance. If we miss it, it'll be difficult to change the situation. Zhuo Qinglong and the others' eyes lit up when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They felt that it was a good idea. As Mo Qingyun said, this was the only time they had the upper hand in the battle against the Dark Demon race. I think it's feasible. Zhou Jing thought about it and nodded in agreement with Mo Qingyun's suggestion. Cheng Xingyi, who followed behind Zhou Jing, also nodded in agreement. Ing Wudi snorted unhappily when he saw how Zhou Jing and the others reacted. He said, Have you thought about the casualties of such a large-scale battle? Everyone frowned and looked worried. They were afraid that the casualties would be too great. Compared to their worries, Mo Qingyun was calm. He said, Since we're going to fight, casualties are unavoidable. More importantly, we don't have a choice now. Even if we don't take the initiative, we'll be forced to fight Kaiser Blood and the others once they arrive. Instead of being passive, why don't we take the initiative now? At least we'll have the upper hand. Zhuo Qinglong nodded in agreement after hearing Mo Qingyun's analysis. He said, Mr. Mo's analysis is correct. Since that's the case, let's not hesitate anymore. Immediately organize the troops and take the initiative to attack. Humph! Seeing Zhuo Qinglong's attitude, Ing Wudi snorted unhappily and stopped talking. Seeing Ing Wudi's displeasure, some of the experts who were familiar with Ing Wudi spoke up to comfort him. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Ing Wudi's order. He wanted to talk to Enchun and the others. Qingyun, what did Senior Zhuo and the others say? Do they agree with your suggestion? Lei Yuan's face tensed up when she saw Mo Qingyun approaching. She immediately asked Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun nodded and said, Senior Zhuo and the others have already discussed and decided to launch an attack on the Dark Devil race's camp. All of you will follow Enchun. If you encounter any danger, Enchun will be able to lend a hand. I'll attack alone. Given the Dark Demon's hatred for me, I'm afraid they'll focus on me. If you follow me, it'll be very dangerous. Okay. Lei Yuan and the others didn't object when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. More than 10 saint emperors, dozens of great saints, and hundreds of great emperors were fighting. If they followed Mo Qingyun, they might become a burden to Mo Qingyun. After giving Lei Yuan some instructions, Mo Qingyun thought for a while and said, As for those below the great emperor realm, they don't need to participate in the battle. Go immediately and gather with me. We'll go kill the dark demons together. Lei Yuan didn't hesitate at all when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. She immediately went to inform the others. Before long, Lei Yuan brought Polar Ice and the others to Mo Qingyun. Let's go. Mo Qingyun didn't waste any time when he saw that everyone was present. He immediately walked towards Zhuo Qinglong and the others. Zhuo Qinglong's expression turned solemn when he saw that everyone was present. He shouted, My allies, this battle will determine the outcome of our battle with the dark demons. For the sake of the entire Starfield, we must fight to the death. Fight to the death. Fight to the death. Fight to the death. Everyone responded loudly when Zhuo Qinglong finished speaking. Zhuo Qinglong nodded in satisfaction when he saw everyone's expressions. He smiled happily. End of chapter. Chapter 3043. Attack. Zhuo Qinglong yelled and led the charge towards the Dark Demon Race's camp. Seeing that Zhuo Qinglong was going to attack, Ma Bei and the others hurriedly followed him and flew towards the Dark Demon's camp. Let's go too, Mo Qingyun instructed, and he rode a winged sacred power Pegasus, disappearing from the spot. By the time Mo Qingyun reappeared, he was already beside Zhuo Qinglong and had caught up with him. So fast. He's even faster than Saint Emperor Zhuo Qinglong. Is he really at the Sector Lord realm? He's too fast. With his speed, even Saint Emperors probably can't do anything to him. Jin Shen sighed. Seeing Mo Qingyun's speed, everyone's expression trembled, and a wisp of respect emerged in their eyes. When he reached Zhuo Qinglong's side, Mo Qingyun didn't stop. He smiled at Zhuo Qinglong and said, "Senior, I'll go first and take the first victory." "All right." Zhuo Qinglong laughed and nodded approvingly at Mo Qingyun's words. Mo Qingyun disappeared from Zhuo Qinglong's side in a flash and reappeared 1,000 miles away. Mo Qingyun's rapid approach quickly attracted the attention of the Dark Demon race. They all tensed up. "Oh no, that kid Mo Qingyun is here. Everyone, be alert. Everyone, let's go together. This kid won't be able to return. Don't be careless. The Anti-Demon Alliance is here too." Sensing the arrival of Mo Qingyun and the others, the members of the Dark Devil clan became vigilant. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Mo Qingyun flashed and appeared above the Dark Demon race. Heaven's might illusion, arriving above the Dark Devil race's group. Mo Qingyun did not waste any time and directly displayed Heaven's might secret skill. Shortly after, thunderclouds began to gather in the sky above the Dark Demon race's camp, emitting a terrifying pressure. "Retreat, retreat quickly." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Zijie understood the situation and hurriedly reminded the soldiers. With Purple Tribulation's reminder, the troops in the Dark Demon race's camp immediately fled in all directions in panic. While they were fleeing, bolts of lightning with terrifying auras descended from the sky. Boom, boom, boom. Bolts of lightning descended, blasting the Dark Devil clansmen one after another, turning them into ashes. In just a few moments, Mo Qingyun had killed almost 10,000 of the Dark Demon race. More importantly, under Mo Qingyun's surprise attack, the Dark Demons were thrown into disarray, and their overall combat strength was greatly weakened. "Mr. Mo, good job. Let's kill him." Seeing the Dark Demon race's chaos, Zhuo Qinglong was delighted and charged forward with his men. In a flash, Zhuo Qinglong appeared before Ziwujin and said, "Ziwujin, I didn't have enough fun last time. Let's continue this time." While Zhuo Qinglong was fighting against Ziwujin, the leader of the Anti-Demon Alliance, Lin Xingxuan, walked up to Zijie and said, "Last time, Ziwujin helped you in time and saved your life. This time, I will kill you." Lin Xingxuan and Ziwujin found their opponents. Zhou Jing and the others also found familiar opponents. Since the Dark Demon race only had 5 Saint Emperors, and Chun, Ingwudi, and Fan Yuqin didn't have any suitable opponents. Seeing that they had no opponents, they prepared to deal with the Great Saints and Great Emperors. They planned to kill some of the Great Saints and Great Emperors of the Dark Demon race. Seeing in Chun and the others' actions, Mo Qingyun said solemnly, "The Great Saints and Great Emperors of the Dark Demon race are nothing to worry about. Go help seniors with Qinglong and the others. Take the opportunity to kill or injure the Saint Emperors of the Dark Demon race." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, and Chun and the others immediately understood and went to deal with Ziwujin and the others. And Chun glanced at the battlefield, and his gaze landed on Zijie. He said, "This person's cultivation is weak, and he has some old injuries. Cripple him first." After Chun finished speaking, his figure flashed and appeared beside Lin Xingxuan. Hearing in Chen's words, Ingwudi hesitated before going to help Lin Xingxuan as well. Zijie's strength wasn't as strong as Lin Xingxuan's. Now that Chun and the others had joined in, his situation immediately became dangerous. Very soon, he was surrounded by danger. It was like walking on a tightrope. The slightest carelessness would cause his soul to be destroyed. Brother Wujin, save me. Zijie was unable to fight back. He was terrified and asked for help from Zi Wujin, who was nearby. Hearing Zijie's request for help, Zi Wujin's face tensed up. He was extremely worried. They were already at a disadvantage in terms of Saint Emperors. If Zijie was killed, they would be in an even worse situation. Thinking of that, Zi Wujin no longer hesitated. He immediately approached Zijie. With Zi Wujin's help, Zijie's situation improved slightly. He was barely able to deal with Enchun and the others. No matter what, he was still a Saint Emperor. Although there were many people on Enchun's side, it was still quite difficult for them to kill him. Most importantly, Enchun and the others didn't dare to push him too hard. They were worried that Zijie would self-destruct. We can't continue like this. We need to divert their attention. Mo Qingyun frowned when he saw the situation with Enchun and the others. He thought of a plan. Mo Qingyun pondered this for a moment, then smiled coldly. You guys keep the Dark Demons' Saint Emperors busy. I'll kill all their great saints and great emperors. I'll turn them into a bunch of generals without an army. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure flashed and appeared beside a great emperor. The nine-bull godly sword flashed and slashed out a sharp sword ray, blowing the great emperor away. Mo Qingyun's movements didn't slow down as he attacked another great emperor. In just a short moment, Mo Qingyun had killed several emperors. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the faces of Zi Wujin and the others immediately became as black as ink. Zi Wujin roared furiously. Mo Qingyun, if you dare to kill our great saints and emperors again, Kaiser Blood and the others will tear you to pieces when they arrive. Not to mention that Kaiser Blood and the others aren't here yet. Even if they are, I'm not afraid. Mo Qingyun wasn't the slightest bit afraid of Zi Wujin's threat. With a provocative expression, he said, Old dog of the dark devil race, if you have the ability, then come and kill me personally. I'll stand here and let you kill me. Do you have the ability? You. Seeing Mo Qingyun's provocation, Zi Wujin was so angry that his body trembled. He couldn't help but lose focus. Due to Zi Wujin's distraction, his attack weakened and his protection of Zijie slipped up. Seeing that Zi Wujin's defense had slipped up, Enchun immediately seized the opportunity and tapped his forehead. Immediately, a door of light with a cold aura shrouded Zijie. Brother Wujin, save me. Zijie screamed in fear when he was shrouded by the door of light. Hearing Zijie's voice, Zi Wujin's expression changed. He knew that he had fallen into a trap. Immediately, he looked at Mo Qingyun with an even colder gaze. End of chapter. Chapter 3044. This brat is trying to distract me. I can't fall for his trick. After seeing through Mo Qingyun's intention, Zi Wujin did not dare to be distracted. He said to the few Saint Emperors beside him, Everyone, stay close to me to prevent us from being killed one by one. Hearing Zi Wujin's words, Ziku and the others who were fighting on the side immediately moved closer to Zi Wujin. When they met up with Zi Wujin, it was equivalent to 1 against 2 against the 8 from Enchun. In a situation of 1 against 2, they could still hold on for a while. However, it did not get close. Although they were fighting 1 against 1, Zi Wujin was fighting 1 against 5. No matter how strong Zi Wujin was, he would not be able to fight against 5 Saint Emperors working together. This old man is very smart. Seeing Zi Wujin's actions, Mo Qingyun squinted his eyes and a look of surprise appeared on his face. In this way, it would be difficult to kill Zi Wujin and the others in a short period of time. Before Mo Qingyun could think of a countermeasure to break the resistance of Zi Wujin and the others, Zi Wujin instructed the few great saints beside him, Zi Mu, Zi Xing. The few of you work together to hold back the 2 Saint Emperors of the Anti-Demon Alliance. ZD, you lead a few Saint Emperors to hold back the great saints of the Anti-Demon Alliance. Hearing Zi Wujin's orders, the great saints and great emperors of the Dark Demon race immediately carried out his orders. In a short while, the battle maintained a balance. Neither side could do anything to the other. This Zi Wujin is a talent. He managed to stabilize the situation so quickly. Seeing that the Dark Demon race had stabilized and were evenly matched with the Anti-Demon Alliance, Mo Qingyun was shocked. However, Mo Qingyun was slightly stunned. He smiled faintly and said, "If I wasn't here, this situation might have been maintained. It's a pity that you neglected my existence." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. His figure flashed, and he arrived beside Zi Wujin. He said, "Zi Wujin, you are indeed capable. However, it's impossible for you to resolve this situation." Purple lightning, heaven sealing bell. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, a ball of purple light flew out of his hand before Zi Wujin could reply. After the purple light left Mo Qingyun's hand, it rapidly transformed into a gigantic bell that flickered with lightning. Seeing the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell descend, Zi Wujin was so scared that his face trembled. He could guess what was going to happen next. Soon after, he changed direction and dodged, escaping the area enveloped by the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. "You want to leave? Can you?" Enshin saw through Zi Wujin's thoughts and smiled indifferently. He immediately stopped Zi Wujin and said, "You go and deal with the others. I'll deal with him alone." "All right." Upon hearing Dawn's words, Zhui Qinglong and the others immediately left the battlefield. Following that, the crowd saw the purple lightning heaven-sealing bell envelop Shun and Zi Wujin. Boom! A loud noise was heard. Shun and Zi Wujin were enveloped by the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Mo Qingyun wasn't worried at all about Dark Dawn being enveloped. He was very confident in Enchen's strength. Zi Wujin alone couldn't do anything to Enchant. Brother Limitless is trapped. What should we do? Everyone stay calm. Try not to get separated. Kaiser Blood and the others will be here soon. We just need to hold on for a while longer. Seeing that Zi Wujin was trapped, a trace of panic appeared on Zi Ku and the others' faces. Although Enchun and Zi Wujin were trapped by the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, they had one less Saint Emperor opponent. Now, the three of them had to face Zhui Qinglong and the other six, which made them feel even more pressured. More importantly, Mo Qingyun was standing next to Zhui Qinglong and the others, eyeing them with hostility. Bang! Just as Zi Ku and the others were panicking, Zi Jie broke through the black light door. Seeing that Zi Jie had broken through the black light door, Zi Jie and the others were overjoyed and smiled excitedly. Zi Jie had broken through the black light door and come over to help them, which could ease their pressure. He broke through so quickly. A Saint Emperor can't be underestimated. Seeing that Zi Jie was about to join the battle, Mo Qingyun's face turned cold. He went up to Zi Jie and said, "I'll stop him. Hurry up and kill one or two of them." "Okay." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhou Jing and the others immediately replied, "Although Zi Jie is severely injured, you have to be careful in order to prevent him from doing anything desperate." After giving Mo Qingyun instructions, Zhui Qinglong and the others' attacks became fiercer. They knew that they could not drag this out any longer. If Kaiser Blood and the others arrived, they would lose their advantage and fall into a passive position. At that time, it would be extremely difficult to deal with the Dark Devil race. Azure Dragon Suppression. Realizing the severity of the situation, Zhui Qinglong roared and his body grew rapidly. In the blink of an eye, Zhui Qinglong had turned into a huge azure dragon and enveloped Zi Ku and the other two. He said, "I'll keep two of them busy. You guys get rid of one of them as soon as possible. Everyone go all out. Even if you're injured, you have to kill him." Seeing that Zhui Qinglong was going to fight to the death, Lin Qingxuan roared and charged toward the remaining Saint Emperor. Facing Lin Qingxuan and the other five, the Dark Demon Clan Saint Emperor was severely injured and unable to fight, even though he was unwilling. Lin Bing. Seeing that Zi Lin Bing was severely injured and unable to fight, Zi Ku and the other two were enraged. Of course, while they were enraged, they were more worried than angry. Now that Lin Bing had lost his ability to fight, the two of them would have to face Zhuo Qinglong and the other 6. You're courting death. Realizing their predicament, Ziku and the other 2 went berserk and attacked Zhuo Qinglong wildly. In their opinion, the only way to resolve this crisis was to severely injure Zhuo Qinglong and make him unable to fight. Bang, bang, bang. Under Ziku and the other 2's frenzied attacks, Zhuo Qinglong's huge body was sent flying. As Zhuo Qinglong was sent flying, hideous wounds appeared on his huge dragon body. Due to his severe injuries, Zhuo Qinglong had no choice but to revert to his human form. His face was pale as he said, "Vice Alliance Leader Ma Bei, work with me to keep one of them busy. Alliance Leader Lin Qingxuan, lead the others and try to kill the other one as quickly as possible." "All right," Lin Qingxuan responded and charged toward Ziku after hearing Zhuo Qinglong's words. When Lin Qingxuan and the others attacked, Zhuo Qinglong did not hesitate and charged toward the other Saint Emperor. Seeing that Zhuo Qinglong had attacked, Ma Bei hurriedly followed and said with concern, "Zhuo Qinglong, you're severely injured. Why don't I deal with him alone while you rest and recover? My injuries are not a problem. We can't let anything happen to me now." Zhuo Qinglong shook his head and rejected Ma Bei's suggestion. He said, "Even if I lose my ability to fight later, it's worth it to exchange 1 for 2. Ma Bei did not say anything after hearing Zhuo Qinglong's words. While Zhuo Qinglong and the others were fighting with their lives on the line, several terrifying auras enveloped them. Previous loading next chapters. Chapter 3045. Kaiser Blood and the rest were here. Sensing the powerful aura, Zhuo Qinglong and the rest shuddered and instinctively thought so. Knowing that Kaiser Blood and the rest were here, Zhuo Qinglong and the rest were anxious and uneasy. Lin Qingxuan shouted, "Success or failure depends on this. Kill him with all your might." Hearing Lin Qingxuan shout, Zhou Jing and the rest did not dare to be careless and attacked Zijiang with all their might. Under Lin Qingxuan and the rest's desperate attacks, terrifying saber and sword radiance engulfed Zijiang. No, facing Lin Qingxuan and the rest's desperate attacks, Zijiang roared with fear and unwillingness. After a while, the storm dissipated and Zijiang was nowhere to be seen. Obviously, under the joint attack of Lin Qingxuan and the rest, Zijiang was blown away. Phew! After killing Zikan, Lin Qingxuan and the others took a deep breath. Their expressions relaxed a little. It was a great gain to have killed Lin Bing and Zijiang before Kaiser Blood and the rest arrived. Although Zhuo Qinglong was severely injured in the process, Zijie was also severely injured. This was equivalent to exchanging 1 for 3. It was a good deal. Seeing that Kaiser Blood and the rest had arrived, Mo Qingyun did not attack again and immediately retreated to Lin Qingxuan and the rest. On the other side, Zhuo Qinglong and Ma Bei also retreated to stand with Mo Qingyun and the rest. After Mo Qingyun and the rest retreated, Zijie and Ma Bei also quickly retreated to join Kaiser Blood and the rest. Kaiser Blood, Elder Zijiang, is dead. Elder Lin Bing has also lost his ability to fight. We have suffered a great loss in this battle. Coming before Kaiser Blood, Zijie's face was filled with grief and indignation. If you hadn't come in time, I'm afraid the rest of us would have followed in his footsteps. Hearing Zijie's words and looking at Zijie and the rest, Kaiser Blood and the rest's faces were as dark as ink. Without waiting for Kaiser Blood to speak, Zijie looked coldly at Mo Qingyun and said, "This is all because of Mo Qingyun. We must not let him off this time." Kaiser Blood looked at Mo Qingyun in the direction of Purple Tribulation's hand. He released a strong, murderous intent. Kaiser Blood glared coldly at Mo Qingyun. His face darkened as he said, "Elder Ziwujin, why don't I see him?" When Kaiser Blood asked about Ziwujin, Zijie pointed to the purple lightning heaven-sealing bell and said, "Kaiser Blood, Elder Ziwujin and Mo Qingyun's servant were sealed inside the bell. If Elder Ziwujin hadn't been sealed inside, we wouldn't be in such a miserable state." Kaiser Blood and the others' faces darkened when they heard Purple Tribulation's explanation. It was Mo Qingyun, this brat, who ruined their plans again. Damn brat. We let you escape last time. Let's see where you can run to this time. Zijueho was furious when he thought about how Mo Qingyun had ruined his clan's plans again and again. He gritted his teeth and shouted angrily. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Zijueho's anger at all. He smiled faintly and said, "Now that we are equal in strength, you should consider your own strength if you want to deal with me." Everyone was stunned when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They couldn't help but look at the battlefield. Scanning the battlefield, Zijueho and the others' faces became even more unsightly. Although they had more great saints and great emperors than the Alliance, they didn't have an obvious advantage. Moreover, Zijuo had been killed and the Zilin soldiers had lost their battle strength. They didn't have much of an advantage in terms of saint emperors. Bang! While everyone was staring at each other, the purple lightning heaven-sealing bell vibrated and Enchun flew out. When Enchun came out of the heaven-sealing purple thunder bell, he landed beside Mo Qingyun as if nothing had happened. Compared to Enchun, Ziwujin was in a much worse state. He looked extremely miserable. Although Ziwujin didn't have any fatal injuries, he had more than 10 minor injuries. Elder Wu Jinyu, Kaiser Blood and the others were shocked when they saw Mo Qingyun and Ziwujin's injuries. They found it hard to believe. Among the saint emperors of the Dark Demon clan, Ziwujin's strength was only slightly weaker than Kaiser Blood's. They didn't expect that with Ziwujin's strength, he would be injured so badly by Enchun. Kaiser Blood, this person is very strong and has many tricks up his sleeves. Don't underestimate him. Ziwujin came to the side of Kaiser Blood and the others and looked at Enchun cautiously. Hearing Ziwujin's words, Enchun smiled and said, "If I wasn't worried that the purple lightning heaven-sealing bell wouldn't be able to suppress him if I used all my strength, do you really think you could escape from me alive?" While the two were talking, Mo Qingyun frowned and said, "Senior Zhuqinglong, your injuries are very serious. You go and deal with Zijie later. Leave the others to us." Okay. Zhuqinglong nodded and accepted Mo Qingyun's arrangement. He was in a similar situation as Zijie, so he wouldn't be at a disadvantage if they fought. After telling Zhuqinglong, Mo Qingyun said to Enchun, "Kaiser Blood of the Dark Demon clan is very strong. Enchun, go and keep him busy. Don't force yourself to defeat him. Just keep him busy for a while. Also, I'll use the purple lightning heaven-sealing bell again and try to trap a Saint Emperor of the Dark Demon clan. As for the others, find familiar opponents and keep them busy so that they don't have to participate in the battle between the Supreme Saints and Great Emperors. I'll use this time to deal with the Supreme Saints and Great Emperors of the Dark Demon clan. Then, I'll help you." After listening to Mo Qingyun's arrangement, Lin Qingxuan and the others nodded and agreed with Mo Qingyun's order. "Let's go." After giving the orders, Mo Qingyun shouted and rushed toward the Supreme Saints and Great Emperors of the Dark Demon clan. As for Enchun and the others, they followed Mo Qingyun's orders and went to fight their opponents. Very soon, the great battle between the two sides began. The battle was in full swing. As soon as the battle began, Mo Qingyun killed the two great emperors with lightning speed. Seeing Mo Qingyun's amazing fighting strength, Zijueho and the others trembled and felt very uneasy. He said, "Mo Qingyun is very strong. The Supreme Saints and Great Emperors are no match for him. Let's go and help him immediately." "That's right. Let's deal with Mo Qingyun first. The Anti-Demon Alliance is nothing to worry about." Thinking of Mo Qingyun's threat, Kaiser Blood and the others left the battlefield and rushed toward Mo Qingyun. Seeing Kaiser Blood and the others' reaction, Zhuqinglong and the others smiled bitterly. Their feelings were extremely complicated. Several Saint Emperors added together were not as good as Mo Qingyun. It was a blow to their confidence. "If you want to kill me, you'll have to catch up with me first." Seeing Kaiser Blood and the others coming, Mo Qingyun sneered and shouted to Enchun and the others, "Enchun, I'll hold them back." You guys kill the supreme saints and great emperors of the Dark Demon clan. I like to see how long they can chase me. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he rode the Saint Power Pegasus and dodged the attacks of Kaiser Blood and the others. Chapter 3046. Okay. And Shun and the others responded and went to kill the great saints and great emperors of the Dark Demon race. Mo Qingyun was in a dangerous situation. They did not dare to delay and wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. And Shun and the others rushed into the battlefield of the great saints and great emperors. They were like tigers in a flock of sheep. In the blink of an eye, they heavily injured several great saints and great emperors. Kaiser Blood and the others panicked when they saw the situation within Shun and the others. They were in a dilemma. If they continued to pursue Mo Qingyun, all the great saints and great emperors on their side would be killed or crippled. While Kaiser Blood and the others were struggling, Zijueho's eyes lit up when he saw Lei Muin not far away. He said, "Kaiser Blood, Mo Qingyun's woman is over there. Let's go after her. Mo Qingyun will not sit idly by." Zijueho shouted and flew toward Lei Muin. With Zijueho's reminder, Kaiser Blood and the others turned around and charged toward Lei Muin. Muin is in danger. Seeing Kaiser Blood and the others' actions, Mo Qingyun's expression tightened, and a worried look appeared on his face. Lei Muin was not weak and could hold her own against a great emperor. However, she had no chance of winning against Kaiser Blood and the others. Mo Qingyun did not hesitate when he saw that Lei Muin was in danger. He immediately shouted to Enchun and the others, "Stop Kaiser Blood and the others. Do not let them enter the battlefield of the great saints and great emperors." When Mo Qingyun reminded Enchun and the others, he also moved and flew to Lei Muin's side. As for Enchun and the others, they followed Mo Qingyun's reminder and went to fight Kaiser Blood and the others. Soon, the two sides were engaged in a fierce battle again, and an even more terrifying storm of Saint force erupted. "I'll take you all out." When he came to Lei Muin's side, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed, and the worry in his heart eased a little. Then he went on a rampage, slaughtering the great sages and great emperors of the Dark Devil race. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Kaiser Blood and the others were enraged. Their attacks became even more violent and fierce. Lin Qingxuan and the others did not flinch in the face of the frenzied attacks from Kaiser Blood and the others. This battle was very important to them. They couldn't back down at all. Boom, boom, boom. Under the frenzied attacks of the crowd, a series of earth-shattering explosions rang out. Wave after wave of Saint Power storms followed behind the noise, crashing into the surrounding space. Crack, crack, crack. Under the continuous impact of the Saint Energy windstorm, the space shattered rapidly and erupted with a terrifying, devouring force. When this devouring force appeared, some people who were caught off guard were instantly swallowed up. Seeing this scene, the Dark Demon race and the Anti-Demon Alliance's people were all horrified. Everyone dodged. Seeing the space shattering, Mo Qingyun's expression trembled. He immediately reminded Lei Muin and the others. Immediately, he led Lei Muin and the others to dodge the devouring force of the spatial crack. Then, the spatial crack shattered too quickly. Even though Mo Qingyun tried his best to dodge, he still could not keep up. In the blink of an eye, the area of the shattered space was above Mo Qingyun and the others. Then, a terrifying, devouring force enveloped Mo Qingyun and the others. "Everyone back off. I'll block the devouring force." Seeing the situation, Mo Qingyun shouted and pushed Lei Muin and the others away. After pushing Lei Muin and the others away, Mo Qingyun slashed forward with his sword and released a surge of the power of law. Eternity. Space imprisonment. With Mo Qingyun's help, the devouring force was blocked. In just an instant, the devouring force attacked again and enveloped Mo Qingyun. Soon after, Mo Qingyun was pulled into the spatial rift bit by bit. Qingyun, seeing Mo Qingyun being dragged away, Lame Yuan and the others trembled and revealed worried expressions. Soon after, their faces filled with anxiety as they prepared to rescue Mo Qingyan. Seeing Lame Yuan and the others' actions, Mo Qingyan's expression tensed, and he shouted, "All of you, back off. I'll be fine." As Mo Qingyan spoke, he took out the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell and enveloped himself in it. Seeing Mo Qingyan's actions, Lame Yuan gritted her teeth and stopped moving forward. Then, she and the others retreated to avoid the devouring force of the spatial crack. Lame Yuan and the others retreated a distance. And Shan came to her side and said, "Mistress, don't worry too much. My soul connection with Master is still there. Master's life is not in danger. Also, he has the protection of the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Ordinary spatial storms can't hurt him." Hearing in Chen's words, Lame Yuan's expression relaxed a little. Her hanging heart was slightly relieved. When Chen and the others retreated, Zhui Qinglong and the others also retreated with heavy expressions. They didn't expect that the battle between the two sides would end up like this. Just a moment ago, more than 10 great saints and dozens of great emperors from both sides were swallowed into the spatial crack. If there were no accidents, these people were probably doomed. Humph! It's all Mo Qingyun's fault for causing this. Coming to Zhui Qinglong and the others, Ying Wudi's expression darkened and he looked furious. Hearing Ying Wudi's words, Lame Yuan's pretty face trembled and she shouted angrily, "I dare you to say that again." Mo Qingyun had been dragged into the spatial crack, but Ying Wudi still blamed him. This was too much. Ying Wudi didn't care about Lame Yuan's scolding at all. He still looked unhappy and said, Mo Qingyun was dragged into the spatial crack. He can't bear the regret. You're all his disciples. You'll bear the consequences. Humph! Seeing Ying Wudi's aggressive attitude, and Chen snorted coldly and emitted a strong, murderous intent. He said, "If you dare to touch Mistress, I don't mind exterminating all the stellar regions." Feeling in Chen's aura and murderous intent, Lin Qingxuan and the others trembled, and a trace of fear appeared in their eyes. They didn't doubt in Chen's words at all, because he had the strength to do so. During the battle, just now, he had been holding back Kaiser blood and relieving the pressure on everyone. If they forced him into a corner and he turned to attack the anti-demon alliance, the consequences would be unimaginable. Let's talk nicely. Don't hurt the harmony. We don't want to see this situation either. Zhui Qinglong recovered from his injuries and tried to persuade everyone with a sad expression. He said, "Hall Master Lei, we're very sorry about what happened to Mr. Mo. My condolences." "What condolences? Master isn't in danger." Hearing Zhui Qinglong's words, Chen scolded him unhappily. Zhui Qinglong didn't say anything to Chen's scolding. He just sighed. In his opinion, Chen's current behavior was unacceptable. Mo Qingyun had been swallowed by the spatial crack. At this moment, while everyone was talking, the Dark Devil Clan's people had all retreated. Seeing that the Dark Demons had retreated, Zhui Qinglong and the others relaxed. Their hearts were slightly at ease. This time, they had suffered heavy casualties, but the Dark Demons had suffered heavier casualties. Their strength was now on par with theirs. Chapter 3047. After this battle, the Dark Demon Clan should be more restrained. Seeing that the Dark Demons had retreated, Zhui Qinglong's expression relaxed. He waved to the others and said, "Everyone, recover as soon as possible. Once we reorganize our forces, we'll launch our counterattack." Lin Qingxuan and the others nodded when they heard Zhui Qinglong's words. They had the same idea. Then, they stopped talking and returned to their residences. "Mistress, let's go back too." Seeing that everyone had dispersed, and Chen didn't want to stay any longer, he signaled to Lame Yuan and said, "Mistress, don't worry. I can sense Master's soul. It's still very stable. It seems that Master is not in danger." "That's good." Lame Yuan relaxed when she learned about Mo Qingyun's situation from Chen. At this moment, when Lame Yuan and the others were about to leave, a scene that shocked them appeared. The spatial crack in the sky suddenly stopped shrinking and formed a huge gully. They could vaguely see a continent in the gully. It gave off a vicissitude aura. What's going on? Why is there a crack here? That's the Seven Treasures glazed rock. It's the kind that's very old. What's on the other side of the crack? There's such a thing. I don't know if we can cross it. If we can, we'll really be rich. Zhuo Long and the others were shocked and greedy when they saw the scene on the other side of the crack. Then, some people flew toward the crack and tried to enter the other side. Let's go and have a look. Lei Muin's expression changed when she saw everyone flying toward the crack. She was about to follow them. And Shin shook his head when he heard Lei Muin's thoughts. He said, "Mistress, if I'm right, the other side of the crack is probably a dangerous place in the heaven realm. With our current cultivation, let's not talk about whether or not we can enter. Even if we do, we will most likely die." Lei Muin's face trembled when she heard Chen's words. The heaven realm? Lei Muin was shocked. It wasn't the first time she heard about the heaven realm. She didn't expect that the other side of the spatial crack was actually connected to the heaven realm. While Lei Muin and Yi Zichen were talking, Zhuo Long and the others arrived at the crack and began to fly in. Chi. As soon as they entered the crack, they were bombarded by a terrifying force and were instantly turned into ashes. Seeing this, Zhuo Long and the others were greatly shocked. They looked frightened after what had happened. Fortunately, they didn't go in. Otherwise, they would have died without a doubt. Let's go back. Seeing the situation of the crack, Lei Muin didn't want to stay any longer and rushed back to her residence. While there were many treasures on the other side of the rift, given their strength, it would be futile if they were unable to obtain them. And Shun and the others nodded and followed. In the endless void, a purple light flowed aimlessly, lighting up the surrounding darkness like stars in the night sky. If one were to observe carefully, they would discover that there was a young figure inside the purple light. This figure was none other than Mo Qingyun, who had been sucked into the spatial crack and was hiding inside the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. What is this place? Looking at the pitch-black void around him, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock. He looked around curiously. After flying aimlessly for some distance, a huge light attracted Mo Qingyun's attention. There's light over there. It should be the exit. Looking at the light, not far away, Mo Qingyun was delighted and controlled the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell to fly. After flying for about an hour, Mo Qingyun came to the light and saw what it looked like. It was a huge ravine, as if the heavens and earth had been split open. So many spiritual treasures. Through the cracks of the ravine, Mo Qingyun saw many spiritual treasures growing in an ancient mountain range. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and controlled the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell to fly closer. Boom, boom, boom. Mo Qingyun entered the ravine and clearly felt a terrifying force bombarding the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Fortunately, the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell was strong enough and didn't show any signs of damage. After a violent tremor, Mo Qingyun entered the ancient mountain range and saw many rare treasures. This is the Seven Treasures glazed rock. This is the All Manifestations misty rain. Looking at the rare treasures in front of him, Mo Qingyun recognized them and carefully collected them. At this moment, when Mo Qingyun was collecting them, a terrifying aura enveloped him. So strong, it's beyond the Emperor realm. Feeling the pressure from the aura, Mo Qingyun's expression changed, and his eyes were filled with shock. He said, "What is this place? There's such a strong person here." While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he didn't hesitate at all and immediately fled for his life. Soon, a two-winged Saint Power Pegasus formed under Mo Qingyun. Riding the two-winged Saint Power Pegasus, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and disappeared. Roar! As soon as Mo Qingyun disappeared, a deafening roar came from behind him. Bearing the impact of the roar, Mo Qingyun's chest surged and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Too strong. After getting rid of the pressure, Mo Qingyun felt a lingering fear and cold sweat broke out on his back. He knew very well that if he was caught, he would definitely die. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times and only stopped when he was sure that he was safe. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with vigilance as he carefully observed his surroundings. After Mo Qingyun scanned his surroundings, he discovered that the vegetation around him was extremely old. It'll be great if I meet someone. Mo Qingyun hoped in his heart as he walked carefully in the mountain range. As for the place just now, he didn't dare to go there again. Although there were many spiritual treasures of heaven and earth there, with his current cultivation, there was no way he could get them. Previously, he was able to get close mainly because he entered through the crack and didn't go in the normal way. The flowers are blooming in this direction, and the light is better from the front. This should be the path to the outer area. Mo Qingyun observed the growth of the flowers and plants. He had a direction and knew where to go. Immediately, Mo Qingyun walked out of the mountain range unhurriedly. Along the way, Mo Qingyun sensed many powerful auras, which made him extremely nervous. Fortunately, these powerful auras didn't pay much attention to him. It was as if Mo Qingyun was too weak in their eyes and couldn't arouse their interest. Just like that, Mo Qingyun walked out of the mountain range in fear and trepidation. After coming out of the mountain range, Mo Qingyun saw some palaces standing in the air not far away. Seeing these palaces, Mo Qingyun's expression changed, and he immediately flew towards them. Bookmark for easy reading. Chapter 3048. Mo Qingyun flew for a distance and arrived in front of the palace. However, he was blocked by an invisible barrier. Looking at the palace in front of him, but unable to enter, Mo Qingyun felt a little anxious. If he couldn't enter the palace, he couldn't communicate with others and figure out his current situation. Looking around, Mo Qingyun saw a small village below the palace. Although the people in this village don't seem to have strong cultivations, they should know some information. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun flew down and prepared to find a villager to ask about the situation. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times, and he arrived in the village. He found a villager in plain clothes. "This big brother, may I ask, where's this place?" After blocking the villager's path, Mo Qingyun politely asked the villager for information. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the villager's face was blank, showing a dumbfounded state. "Is he deaf?" Seeing the villager's reaction, Mo Qingyun was also a little confused and instinctively had such a thought. While Mo Qingyun was puzzled, the villager thought for a while and said, Mo Qingyun was dumbfounded. Now, other than being confused, there was nothing else he could do. He couldn't understand what the villager was saying at all. Is this villager an idiot? With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun prepared to find another person to ask about the situation. Seeing Mo Qingyun leave, the villager didn't chase after him and shook his head helplessly. He seemed to be depressed that Mo Qingyun still didn't understand what he was saying. Soon, Mo Qingyun found another villager and said, "Uncle, may I ask where this place is?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the middle-aged villager was also stunned. Seeing the other party's reaction, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. He immediately knew the result. It wasn't that the previous villager was an idiot, but that their language was different and they couldn't communicate. Having obtained such a result, Mo Qingyun wanted to cry, but had no tears. His mood was extremely complicated. If he couldn't understand what the other party was saying, how could he ask for directions and figure out his current situation? Seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, the old villager frowned and gestured to a young man beside him. Hearing the old man's instructions, the young man immediately ran into the largest house in the village. Not long after, a middle-aged man in scholarly attire and holding a feather fan walked over with the young man. As the middle-aged man in scholarly attire approached, he cupped his hands towards Mo Qingyun and said, "Ji ligu lu ida wuda." Mo Qingyun was speechless and depressed. He could tell that the middle-aged man in front of him was the most knowledgeable person in the village. Just as Mo Qingyun thought, when the middle-aged man in scholarly attire came over, the other people in the village surrounded him. Everyone glanced at Mo Qingyun and began to talk at once, pointing at Mo Qingyun and gossiping about him. Although Mo Qingyun couldn't understand the language, he could guess the general meaning. If he wasn't wrong, these people were probably saying that he was an idiot. Seeing Mo Qingyun's depressed face and not knowing how to express his thoughts, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire had a flash of inspiration. He picked up a branch and wrote on the ground. Not long after, strange words appeared in front of Mo Qingyun's eyes. Looking at the words on the ground, Mo Qingyun was depressed again. He didn't know any of them. Mo Qingyun took a deep breath. A strong wail rose in his heart. He didn't expect that one day he would not only become deaf and mute, but also illiterate. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire immediately understood that Mo Qingyun didn't know a single word. Immediately, he looked at Mo Qingyun with some sympathy. The middle-aged man in scholarly attire threw away the branch, patted Mo Qingyun's shoulder, and gestured to him. The meaning was probably to let Mo Qingyun not be sad and live in the village first. They took Mo Qingyun in. Yes, although he was depressed, Mo Qingyun was still moved and nodded to the middle-aged man in scholarly attire. Anyway, at least he had a place to stay. This place was not like other places. In addition to the powerful cultivators, even the language here was not universal. If he ran out and accidentally offended others, he wouldn't even have a chance to explain. Mo Qingyun thought of this. It was a fortunate thing that he didn't enter the Sky Palace before. Those people in the Sky Palace were definitely not as easy to get along with as these villagers. If Mo Qingyun said something that caused the other party to misunderstand and think that Mo Qingyun was provoking them, then it would be a big joke. Seeing Mo Qingyun nod, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire walked forward and made a gesture of invitation. Soon, under the middle-aged man's guidance, Mo Qingyun came to a simple wooden house. Not long after Mo Qingyun entered the wooden house, a middle-aged woman came in with a quilt and made the bed for him. After a while, the originally empty wooden house was filled with some daily necessities. Looking at the scene in front of him, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but feel a little moved. He quickly made a gesture of gratitude to everyone. Seeing Mo Qingyun's gesture of gratitude, everyone looked at him sympathetically, patted him on the shoulder, and left with concern. That gesture was as if Mo Qingyun was on the execution ground and was about to be executed. Different customs, not sympathy. Mo Qingyun comforted himself in his heart, trying to make himself feel better. After the adults left, the children of the village ran over and hid outside the door of the wooden house, looking at Mo Qingyun with curiosity. Their behavior made it seem as if Mo Qingyun was a rare and interesting animal in their eyes. Seeing the children's innocent performance, Mo Qingyun wanted to cry, but no tears came out. His heart sank to the bottom of the valley. Whether it was in his previous life or in this life, when had he fallen to such a state? Seeing Mo Qingyun's sad face, a 5 or 6-year-old girl walked into the house with a timid expression. Seeing the little girl muster up her courage and walk in front of him, Mo Qingyun showed a curious expression. Under Mo Qingyun's curious gaze, the little girl took out a fruit and carefully handed it to Mo Qingyun. Understanding the little girl's meaning, Mo Qingyun nodded and took the fruit. Seeing Mo Qingyun take the fruit, the little girl's expression immediately relaxed, and she quickly ran out of the house. Seeing the little girl run away, Mo Qingyun showed a complicated expression and said, "It seems that the most important thing now is to learn the language here." Mo Qingyun understood this point, so he left the wooden house and walked towards the house of the middle-aged scholar. Seeing Mo Qingyun arrive, the middle-aged scholar politely asked Mo Qingyun to sit down. Mo Qingyun didn't sit down, but walked to the bookshelf, picked up a book, and gestured. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the middle-aged scholar immediately understood and took out some books and handed them to Mo Qingyun. Taking the books from the middle-aged scholar's hands, Mo Qingyun nodded and left. He had to leave. The two of them couldn't understand each other, so there was nothing to talk about. Chapter 3049. The book given by the middle-aged man was very comprehensive, and the description was very vivid. According to M.O. Qingyun's guess, the book given by the middle-aged man should be for children to learn how to read. Although the content is a little complicated, it is very suitable for me. There were some standard patterns below the words on the book, so M.O. Qingyun could learn it easily. After a simple reading of the book, M.O. Qingyun grasped the meaning of some words. Although I can recognize the words, I can't not read them. After understanding the meaning of the words in the book, M.O. Qingyun thought about how to read them. While M.O. Qingyun was thinking of a way, several children came to his door and looked at him with curiosity and fear. Looking at the children at the door, M.O. Qingyun smiled faintly at them and waved his hand. Seeing M.O. Qingyun waving at them, some of the timid children immediately turned and ran away. A few of the bolder children hesitated for a moment and then entered M.O. Qingyun's room. Seeing the children enter the room, M.O. Qingyun took out the book and pointed at the words on it. Seeing M.O. Qingyun's action, the children immediately understood M.O. Qingyun's meaning. Immediately, the children began to read the words that M.O. Qingyun pointed at one by one. Listening to the children reading the words, M.O. Qingyun silently wrote them down. The rest of the time passed little by little like this. With a strong desire to find a job, M.O. Qingyun began to learn how to read and forgot the time. Unknowingly, several hours had passed. It was not until the children's parents called the children home for dinner that M.O. Qingyun realized that it was already dark. Seeing that the children had left, M.O. Qingyun stretched his body and slowly closed the book, saying, "At this speed, it will take at most 10 days for me to master the language here. However, the children's literacy is limited. I still have to ask the middle-aged man for help." At this moment, while M.O. Qingyun was pondering, the middle-aged scholar came into the room and nodded at M.O. Qingyun with a faint smile. After exchanging a few words with M.O. Qingyun, the middle-aged man made an inviting gesture, indicating that he wanted to invite M.O. Qingyun to have a meal. M.O. Qingyun didn't say anything. He nodded and followed him out of the wooden house. Perhaps it was to entertain M.O. Qingyun. The middle-aged man in scholarly attire had prepared a rich variety of dishes and wine. There were more than 10 dishes. After gesturing to M.O. Qingyun, the middle-aged man sat down and poured a cup of wine for M.O. Qingyun. Seeing this, M.O. Qingyun did not hold back. He picked up the wine glass and raised it to the middle-aged man. The two of them toasted each other for a while. M.O. Qingyun then took out a book and had the middle-aged man read it to him. Understanding M.O. Qingyun's meaning, the middle-aged man didn't refuse and carefully interpreted it for M.O. Qingyun. After the middle-aged man's interpretation, M.O. Qingyun's understanding of the words immediately became faster. Next, the two ate and chatted. Although the atmosphere was somewhat formal, it could be considered harmonious. About an hour later, "Chew, big brother, I will go back first tomorrow. I will visit again tomorrow." After the meal, M.O. Qingyun used unfamiliar words to say goodbye to the middle-aged man in scholarly attire. In response to M.O. Qingyun's farewell, the middle-aged man nodded and said, "Well, come back tomorrow, and I will teach you other words. With your learning speed, you can basically learn it in 5 days at most." "Okay," M.O. Qingyun responded and left the middle-aged man's house. Coming out from the middle-aged man's house, M.O. Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile and said, "Only 5 days, it's a lot shorter than I expected. When he learns the language, he won't need to go out, create his current environment, and find a way to go back." After returning to his house, M.O. Qingyun didn't continue to learn words, but he didn't stay idle. He said, "The Dark Devil race is too strong. With the strength of the Anti-Devil Alliance, there is no way to contend with them. I have to break through as soon as possible." M.O. Qingyun's figure flickered and entered the Fortune mainland, arriving at the edge of the Grand Mist Sea. M.O. Qingyun directly jumped into the Grand Mist Sea to hunt the Grand Mist spirits. Soon, a winged sacred power Pegasus was formed under M.O. Qingyun's feet. Riding on the Holy Force Pegasus, M.O. Qingyun's speed far surpassed the Grand Mist spirits. He didn't need to waste time to set up a formation. Under Mo Qingyun's all-out attack, the Emperor Realm Grand Mist Spirits were killed one after another. 5 Heavens Emperor Realm Grand Mist Spirits should be able to improve my cultivation. After killing 5 Emperor Realm Grand Mist Spirits, Mo Qingyun swam towards the Grand Mist Sea, preparing to refine them to improve his cultivation. Darkness devouring Heaven Gate. Coming out from the Grand Mist Sea, Mo Qingyun didn't delay and immediately started to refine the Grand Mist Spirits. A black vortex light gate quickly formed above Mo Qingyun's head, exuding a shocking devouring power. After that, strand after strand of pure energy was extracted from the primordial spirit and passed into Mo Qingyun's body. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun focused his mind and started to refine the Grand Mist Spirits. As Mo Qingyun refined the Grand Mist Spirits, the aura he exuded began to rise little by little. A day passed quickly. After a day of cultivation, one Grand Mist Spirit was refined and turned into Mo Qingyun's cultivation. After refining one Grand Mist Spirit, Mo Qingyun did not continue. In a flicker, he left the Fortune mainland. He had promised the middle-aged man that he would look for him to learn how to read, so he couldn't break his promise. After leaving the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun went to the middle-aged man's residence to continue learning how to read. In the next few days, other than learning how to read from the middle-aged man, Mo Qingyun cultivated on the Fortune mainland. Although the days were dull, they were quite fulfilling. 5 days passed quickly. Just as the middle-aged man had estimated, Mo Qingyun learned the language in 5 days. At the middle-aged man's residence, seeing that Mo Qingyun had learned the language, the middle-aged man smiled faintly and said, "Little friend, in the past few days, other than learning how to read from me, you haven't spoken much, but I can see that you're not an ordinary person. You probably won't be willing to stay here." Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Mo Qingyun did not try to hide anything, saying honestly, "I won't hide it from Big Brother Chu. I'm not from here. I was swallowed by a space crack and accidentally came here. So that's how it is." Hearing Mo Qingyun's answer, the middle-aged man nodded his head in understanding. The doubts in his heart were cleared. Then, the way he looked at Mo Qingyun changed. However, the middle-aged man did not ask too much and did not make things difficult for Mo Qingyun. After explaining his origin to the middle-aged man, Mo Qingyun asked anxiously, "Big Brother Chu, where is this place?" "This is the Heaven World, Eastern Wasteland's Demon Sky mountain range." The middle-aged man did not evade Mo Qingyun's question. After hearing the middle-aged man's answer, Mo Qingyun was dumbfounded, shock written all over his face. Chapter 3050. I actually came to the Heaven Realm. Mo Qingyun was in disbelief for a long time when he learned where he was from the middle-aged man. All this time, he had been thinking about how to enter the Heaven Realm. He didn't expect that after being swallowed by the space crack, he would directly enter the Heaven Realm. Knowing that he had entered the Heaven Realm, Mo Qingyun felt a sense of anticipation and asked the middle-aged man, "Big Brother Chu, do you know how to get to the holy clan of Kong Xian Heaven?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the middle-aged man was stunned and looked at Mo Qingyun in surprise. Sensing the middle-aged man's gaze, Mo Qingyun immediately understood that the holy clan of Kong Xian Heaven was probably very far away. That was because the middle-aged man in scholarly attire was looking at him. Although he didn't look down on him, there was still some contempt in his eyes. The middle-aged man obviously felt that with Mo Qingyun's cultivation, he wouldn't be able to safely reach the holy clan of Kong Xian Heaven. After sizing up Mo Qingyun a few times, the middle-aged man calmed down and said, "Little friend Mo, it's not that I don't believe you, but the journey to the holy clan of Kong Xian Heaven is very long. With your current strength, it will be extremely difficult to reach the holy clan of Kong Xian Heaven." "I know this." Mo Qingyun didn't care about the middle-aged man's words and said with a calm expression, "I just want to know the approximate location of the holy clan of Kong Xian Heaven in the Heaven Realm." Hearing Mo Qingyun say this, the middle-aged man nodded and said, "The holy clan of Kongxian Heaven is located in the western region Holy State. Even if a supreme god flew at full speed, it would take at least half a month. With your current cultivation, even if there were no obstacles along the way, it would take at least 10,000 years." After hearing the middle-aged man's words, Mo Qingyun was dumbfounded. From the middle-aged man's expression, he could see that it would take a very long time to reach the holy clan of Kongxian Heaven. But he really didn't expect that it would take him 10,000 years to reach the holy clan of Kongxian Heaven. What's more, there would be all kinds of dangers along the way. To put it bluntly, with his current cultivation, it was impossible for him to reach the profound Heaven Holy Clan. As Mo Qingyun thought of this, he decided not to go to the mysterious sky sacred clan this time. Seeing Mo Qingyun's disappointment, the scholar smiled faintly and said, "Little friend Mo, if I'm not wrong, you're from the star realm? Star field boundary?" Hearing the middle-aged man's question, Mo Qingyun's expression froze. He didn't immediately understand his words. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire didn't mind. He smiled faintly and said, "Many years ago when I was traveling outside, I met a celestial domain-grade martialist. His mannerisms and language were just like yours. I learned from him that the space you live in is made up of small continents and small star fields, unlike the Heaven Realm, which is a huge continent. Due to the lack of spiritual energy in the place where you are, your cultivation level is not high. The strongest among you is only at the heavenly soldier level." The middle-aged man's words caused Mo Qingyun to be greatly alarmed. According to the middle-aged man's words, the place he was describing should be the various major star fields. "I didn't expect that someone from the major star fields would have entered the Heaven Realm." Mo Qingyun was shocked to hear this news from the middle-aged man in scholarly robes. At the same time, Mo Qingyun also felt a sense of anticipation. He hurriedly asked the middle-aged man, "Big Brother Chu, do you have any way to enter the star field boundary you live in?" The middle-aged man shook his head, which disappointed Mo Qingyun a little. "It seems like I can only start from that crack if I want to return to the star field boundary." Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and thought of a way. "However, there seems to be a powerful demonic beast living near that crack. It won't be easy for me to pass right under its nose. I don't know what level that demonic beast belongs to and how big the gap between us is. According to Big Brother Chu's description, a great Emperor Realm expert is only equivalent to a heavenly soldier in the Heaven Realm. What is the realm above the heavenly soldier level?" With such curiosity, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate. He immediately asked the middle-aged man in scholarly attire, "Big Brother Chu, tell me about the cultivation levels in the Heaven Realm." "Okay." The middle-aged man nodded and said, "There are a total of 7 cultivation levels in the Heaven Realm. They are Heavenly Soldier, Heavenly General, Great God, Divine King, Divine Emperor, and Divine Master." Listening to the middle-aged man's explanation, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. When Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding, the middle-aged man's gaze changed slightly. He said, "Your situation is very different from the others. You have just entered the Heaven Realm, but you are not suppressed by the power of laws. This is very strange." Mo Qingyun's face was puzzled and his eyes were filled with curiosity. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the middle-aged man explained, "Under normal circumstances, when people from the outside world enter the Heaven Realm, they will be suppressed by the power of law of the Heaven Realm, especially people like you who have not reached the heavenly soldier level." Mo Qingyun looked embarrassed. He was looked down upon by the middle-aged man again. However, Mo Qingyun did not care and did not have the slightest emotional fluctuation. He could not feel the slightest fluctuation of power from the middle-aged man. Originally, he thought that the middle-aged man was just an ordinary person, so there was no fluctuation of power from him. Now it seemed that he had underestimated the middle-aged man. The other party might be a great master, so he could not feel the fluctuation of power. The middle-aged man did not stop talking and still looked at Mo Qingyun curiously. You are now just living in the heaven realm and have not fought with others. The control of the power of law is not great. If you fight with others, you will find that you have not comprehended the power of law. Mo Qingyun nodded. He did not deny this point. When Mo Qingyun heard this, his expression became dignified as he realized his situation. At this moment, Mo Qingyun could not help but think, if Enchun came with me, with his understanding of the heaven realm, he should be able to help me a lot. Now that I am in such a passive position, it is mainly because I came alone. The next time I come with Enchun, the situation will be different. Seeing Mo Qingyun's troubled expression, the middle-aged man in scholarly robes did not say anything more. He took out a token and handed it over, saying, "This is my identity token. You can take it and go to the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace to cultivate." After taking the token from the middle-aged man, Mo Qingyun was shocked and stared at the middle-aged man. The token that the middle-aged man gave him was the Palace Master token of the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. At this moment, Mo Qingyun did not know what to say. He secretly sighed that the middle-aged man was too low-key. At the same time, he also sighed in his heart that his luck was really good. A small figure like him was warmly received by the Palace Master of an imperial palace and personally taught him for several days. Chapter 3051. Big Brother Chu, you're the Palace Master of the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. Are you? Mo Qingyun thought about it and made a huge discovery. He looked at the middle-aged man in surprise and said, "Also, the villagers living here, are they also?" Seeing that Mo Qingyun had guessed it, the middle-aged man nodded with a smile and said, "You guessed right. We're all demonic beasts in human form." The shock in Mo Qingyun's heart instantly became stronger. His luck was really good. Near the space crack, he managed to get rid of a powerful demonic beast with great difficulty. But now he actually rushed into the beast's den. At this moment, he even had the heart to cry. Did he just escape from the tiger's den into the wolf's den? Seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, the middle-aged man smiled kindly and said, "Don't worry, my clansmen are very simple. They have never left this place and are not involved in the outside world's intrigue." Hee. Seeing that his worries were exposed by the middle-aged man, Mo Qingyun laughed embarrassedly. Looking at the huge palace in the sky, Missouri Qingyun was puzzled and said, "Big Brother Chu, I went to the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace before, but I was blocked by an invisible barrier and could not enter. But when I came here, I was not blocked. Why is that?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's puzzlement, the middle-aged man in the scholar's robe laughed with an unfathomable look. Seeing the middle-aged man's expression, Mo Qingyun frowned and was even more puzzled. The middle-aged man in the scholar's robe did not say much and waved his hand in the air. Soon, Mo Qingyun saw an invisible barrier appear around the village. He felt that the aura of the barrier seemed to be stronger than the one outside the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. Seeing such a result, Mo Qingyun showed a puzzled look and said, "Big Brother Chu, since there is a barrier outside the village, and it is more mysterious than the one in the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace, why can I enter so easily?" The middle-aged man in the scholar's robe no longer kept him in suspense and said with a faint smile, "The isolation formation in the village only isolates people above the heavenly soldier level. Your cultivation is not at the heavenly soldier level, so naturally it is not within the range of the barrier." After hearing the middle-aged man's answer, Mo Qingyun was speechless and depressed to the extreme. It turned out that the reason he could enter the village was because his cultivation was too weak. In other words, anyone in the village was stronger than him. Mo Qingyun instantly felt as if he had been struck by lightning when he received this reality. He received a huge blow. Seeing that, the middle-aged man in the scholar's robe patted his shoulder and said, "Don't be too depressed. Your bone is less than 100 years old heavenly soldier level, and the cultivation star boundaries cultivation is already considered heavenly soldier level. Quasi-heavenly rank is already very fast." After listening to the middle-aged man's comforting words, Mo Qingyun's mood improved a little. He asked curiously. Then what level is my cultivation speed in the heaven realm? The slowest. The middle-aged man in the scholar's robe answered Mo Qingyun directly. After hearing the middle-aged man's answer, Mo Qingyun quickly coughed a few times. This was really a blow to him. Without waiting for him to relieve the depression in his heart, the middle-aged man in the scholar's robe continued. The cultivation speed of the monster race is slower. Generally speaking, it takes about 10 years to reach the heavenly soldier level. Mo Qingyun wanted to cry, but had no tears. He wanted to tell the middle-aged man to go away, as far away as possible. Even if he wanted to hit people, he didn't need to hit people so hard. Big Brother Chu, sorry to bother you today. I will visit you another day. Mo Qingyun received too much information from the middle-aged man in the scholar's robe. He decided to go back and digest it. Of course, only Mo Qingyun knew whether to go back and digest the information or to recover from the blow. Okay. The middle-aged man in the scholar's robe nodded and did not persuade Mo Qingyun to stay. After leaving the middle-aged man's residence, Mo Qingyun went back to his residence to think about what to do next. According to Big Brother Chu, with my current cultivation, I can't do anything in the heavenly world. As for going to the profound sky holy race to see Ling Long, that's simply a fantasy. In that case, my first task now is to find a way to return to the star field boundary. Mo Qingyun thought in his heart, and he had a clear idea of what to do next. Before leaving here, I still need to improve my strength. Mo Qingyun thought in his heart, and he had a plan. He took out the middle-aged man's token and said, "Do you want to listen to Big Brother Chu and go to the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace to cultivate?" Mo Qingyun thought in his heart. He was curious and decided to go to the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace to take a look. My cultivation is about to break through to the peak of the World Lord realm. I will go after that. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment. Then his figure flashed, and he entered the Fortune mainland. Arriving at the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun did not delay and immediately refined the Emperor Realm Grand Mist Spirit. As Mo Qingyun refined the Emperor-grade Grand Mist Spirit, the aura he exuded began to grow stronger at a rapid pace. Not long after, Mo Qingyun was fully immersed in cultivation. Time passed quickly during cultivation, and before Mo Qingyun knew it, close to 10 days had passed. Peak of the World Lord Realm. After 10 days of cultivation, Mo Qingyun's cultivation took another step forward, and he broke through to the peak of the World Lord Realm. Seeing that his cultivation had broken through, Mo Qingyun did not continue cultivating, and his figure flashed back to his room. After returning to his room, Mo Qingyun went to pay a visit to the middle-aged man and asked him about the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. Big Brother Chu, I have decided to make a trip to the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. Can you explain it to me? Arriving in front of the middle-aged man, Mo Qingyun showed a humble expression and bowed to the other party. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the middle-aged man smiled faintly and waved his hand, saying, "Our demon race does not have any rules, as long as we do not kill our own. However, you do not have to worry too much about some barbarian demons who have not gained intelligence." Barbarian demons? Mo Qingyun had a curious look on his face. Seeing the puzzled look on Mo Qingyun's face, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire explained to him, there are two types of demons in the heaven realm. One type is unable to transform into human form. We collectively call them barbarian demons. The other type is like us, who can transform into human form. There is such a difference. After hearing the middle-aged man's explanation, Mo Qingyun nodded and said, "It seems that the demon beasts guarding the spatial crack should belong to the barbarian demons." After exchanging a few words with Mo Qingyun, the middle-aged man stretched his body and said, "I have nothing to do recently, so I will follow you to the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. Then I will have to trouble Big Brother Chu." Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Mo Qingyun's face lit up. Immediately, the middle-aged man raised his right hand and placed it on his shoulder. Then, Mo Qingyun's vision blurred, and he arrived in front of the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. After bringing Mo Qingyun over, the middle-aged man put his hands behind his back and walked into the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun quickly followed and entered the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. Chapter 3052. The 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace was huge, much bigger than it looked from the outside. Mo Qingyun estimated that the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace was close to 1,000,000 square meters. He followed behind the middle-aged man and saw many disciples cultivating in the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. While Mo Qingyun was observing these disciples, they were also sizing him up. One of them revealed a curious look. Soon, many disciples gathered around and looked at Mo Qingyun curiously. Who is this kid? The palace master brought him here personally. His cultivation is so weak. He hasn't even reached the heavenly soldier level. His cultivation is not even at the heavenly soldier level. How did he transform? He's not from the demon clan. He's a human. It's strange that a human is favored by the palace master. Everyone looked at Mo Qingyun curiously. Looking at the surrounding disciples, Mo Qingyun immediately felt incomparably depressed. He had once again received a powerful blow. He could feel a powerful aura from these disciples. Even the weakest presence among them was not something a Saint Emperor could compare to. The 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace is so strong. While Mo Qingyun was depressed, he couldn't help but sigh. Although a single person from the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace could defeat everyone in the Star Region boundary. Let's disperse. Seeing more and more people gathering around them, the middle-aged man waved his hand and dismissed all the disciples. After sending the disciples away, the scholarly middle-aged man continued to walk deeper into the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. Mo Qingyun followed closely behind him. He didn't say a word and silently looked at the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. About half an hour later, the two of them arrived in front of palace. The middle-aged man stopped in his tracks. Inheritance Palace. At the entrance of the palace, there was a huge plaque with 3 words written on it. Every word had a shocking energy fluctuation, as if they were alive. Let's go in. When they arrived at the front of the hall, the middle-aged man in scholarly robes didn't stop. He signaled Mo Qingyun to enter. When Mo Qingyun heard this, he hurriedly followed and entered the palace. After entering the palace, Missouri Qingyun realized that the palace was extremely spacious and there were many statues. These statues were lifelike, and each of them emitted a powerful aura that made people want to worship them. There are 10,000 statues here, representing 10,000 inheritances. Try to communicate with them. After leading Mo Qingyun into the main hall, the middle-aged man smiled faintly and nodded at Mo Qingyun, saying, "If you want to cultivate the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace's techniques, you must obtain one of the inheritances and awaken a demon clan's bloodline." Listening to the middle-aged man's explanation, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. He knew what to do. Then, Mo Qingyun activated the power of his bloodline and tried to resonate with the 10,000 statues. What an amazing bloodline 1,000 Demon Emperor Palace. Sensing the power of Mo Qingyun's bloodline, the middle-aged man's expression changed, and a touch of surprise appeared in his eyes. The power of his bloodline is a little like the Dark Heaven Holy Clan, and a little like the Holy Spirit Clan of Absolute Beginning. This kid is getting more and more interesting. Immediately, the middle-aged man in scholarly robes looked at Mo Qingyun with a strong sense of curiosity. Before the middle-aged man's smile faded, the way he looked at Mo Qingyun changed again. He said in surprise, "That energy fluctuation just now seems to be, it shouldn't be. He's just from a star field boundary. How could he have such a thing?" The middle-aged man was surprised. He carefully looked at Mo Qingyun and shook his head. Boom, boom, boom. Just as the middle-aged man in scholarly robes was startled, a huge blood dragon statue let out an intense roar. Seeing that the blood-red statue resonated, the middle-aged man's expression changed again. A touch of surprise appeared in his eyes again. He actually resonated with the purple thunder crystal dragon. This is really beyond my expectation. Well, his body constitution seems to be the purple thunder crystal dragon body. I didn't expect that someone from the star field boundary could awaken the heavens, might overlord body. This kid is really strange. The more the middle-aged man was in contact with Mo Qingyun, the more he found that he couldn't see through Mo Qingyun. In this case, I'm looking forward to this kid's achievements even more. After a brief moment of shock, the middle-aged man in scholarly robes didn't say anything more. He walked to Mo Qingyun's side and said, "Your performance has exceeded my expectations. You have actually resonated with the Amethyst Thunder Crystal Dragon. If that's the case, then go to the statue of the Amethyst Thunder Crystal Dragon and accept its cultivation inheritance." Okay. Mo Qingyun nodded and walked towards the Purple Thunder Crystal Dragon statue, continuing to communicate with it. Under Mo Qingyun's continuous communication, the Purple Thunder Crystal Dragon statue trembled more and more violently, and the blood-red light it emitted became stronger and stronger. Immediately, Mo Qingyun was enveloped by the blood-red light, and a large amount of information began to pour into his mind. A large amount of information poured into his mind, and Mo Qingyun felt that his head was about to explode. The strong impact in his mind made Mo Qingyun's consciousness slowly fade away. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the middle-aged man next to him frowned, and a touch of surprise appeared on his face. He said, "Although this kid's cultivation isn't high, his willpower is extremely strong. How could his consciousness be so impacted that he fainted when accepting the inheritance? What level of inheritance did the Purple Thunder Crystal Dragon give him?" The middle-aged man was puzzled, but at the same time, he was also curious. Time passed little by little. Soon, a few hours had passed, and the inheritance still didn't stop. Looking at this abnormal scene, the middle-aged man couldn't remain calm, and a touch of worry appeared on his face. Why is his inheritance taking so long? Is there something wrong with this kid? At this moment, just as the middle-aged man was worried, the Purple Thunder Crystal Dragon statue stopped trembling. As the statue stopped trembling, Mo Qingyun's consciousness slowly woke up, and a look of intense shock appeared on his face. He originally thought that the middle-aged man's inheritance was just a cultivation method. He didn't expect that the inheritance the Purple Thunder Crystal Dragon gave him would not only be a powerful cultivation method, but also its lifetime of experience and comprehension. It was precisely because of this that Mo Qingyun took so long to receive the inheritance. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had regained consciousness, the middle-aged man's expression relaxed a little. He walked closer with a faint smile and said, "You took a lot longer to accept the inheritance than the average person. You must have gained a lot. What cultivation method did you get?" Taishur Purple Thunder Demonic Dragon Incantation. In response to the middle-aged man's question, Mo Qingyun didn't hide anything and answered him truthfully. Hearing Mo Qingyun's answer, the middle-aged man's expression suddenly changed, and an intense look of shock appeared on his face. Obviously, Mo Qingyun's harvest had shocked him greatly and far exceeded his expectations. View Zue New Chapter 8 section. Please go to mobile address. Chapter 3053. Big Brother Chu. Is there something wrong with the incantation that I obtained? Mo Qingyun was puzzled by the middle-aged man's reaction and asked nervously. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the middle-aged man regained his composure and shook his head with a faint smile. He said, "The Taishur Amethyst Dragon Incantation is the most precious incantation in the inheritance of the Amethyst Crystal Dragon. I didn't expect you to obtain it. Looks like it's fate. Now that you've said that, I'm relieved." Seeing that the middle-aged man regained his composure and did not show any displeasure, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed a little. He continued, "Just now, in addition to obtaining the Taishur Amethyst Dragon Incantation, the Amethyst Crystal Dragon has also passed on its lifetime of cultivation comprehension to me." "What?" Even the amethyst crystal dragon's cultivation comprehension has been passed on to you? Even with the middle-aged man's mentality, he was still shocked when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. It couldn't be helped. Mo Qingyun's performance was just too shocking. Yes, Mo Qingyun nodded. When Mo Qingyun nodded in response, his expression changed slightly as he looked at the middle-aged man in scholarly robes. He could tell that the middle-aged man's reaction was much more intense than before. Clearly, the amethyst crystal dragon had passed on its cultivation comprehension to him. It was no longer an ordinary thing. Fine. Looks like it's fate that the amethyst crystal dragon has chosen you. The middle-aged man in scholarly robes glanced at Mo Qingyun. In the end, he shook his head and accepted this unexpected result. He said, "So it seems that you inadvertently came to my race from the star domain boundary. It was also predestined." Listening to the middle-aged man's words, Mo Qingyun's face was blank. He was completely confused. However, he could sense that the middle-aged man had no ill intentions towards him. "Big Brother Chu, I've received a great favor from you this time. If you have any requests, feel free to ask." Mo Qingyun thought for a moment as he looked at the middle-aged man in scholarly attire. He couldn't help but ask. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the middle-aged man's gaze softened and a faint smile appeared on his face. He said, "Cultivation is a path that defies the heavens. I am a few years older than you and have walked further on the path of cultivation than you. It is only natural for me to guide you. You don't have to feel too burdened about this. This is your own opportunity. I won't take it back." Mo Qingyun was excited to hear the middle-aged man's words. He felt a strong sense of admiration. He could say without hesitation that among all the people he knew, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire was the most magnanimous. Such breadth of mind was no longer that of a mortal, but that of a true saint. In his heart, cultivation was for the sake of imparting knowledge and guiding others in their learning and improvement. While Mo Qingyun was filled with admiration, the middle-aged man thought for a moment and said, "If there is a chance in the future and you are able to take care of my wisdom demon clan, please lend us a hand." Hearing the middle-aged man's request, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn. "Big Brother Chu, please don't worry. As long as I, Mo Qingyun, have the ability, I swear to protect the intelligent demon clan." Good. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire nodded in satisfaction. Then, the middle-aged man turned around and walked out of the hall. He said, "Come with me. I will take you to the Origin Blood Hall to help with the bloodline inheritance." Okay. Mo Qingyun nodded and hurriedly followed, feeling a strong sense of anticipation. At the same time, Mo Qingyun also felt a wave of doubt. He thought to himself, could the bloodline inheritance that the middle-aged man in scholarly attire be related to the dark demon race's bloodline planting? Mo Qingyun's curiosity was piqued as he followed the middle-aged man to an enormous blood-colored palace. This palace was similarly tall and majestic and looked incomparably splendid. However, the palace was made of a very peculiar kind of crystal, as if it had been condensed for blood. As he followed the middle-aged man into the great hall, Mo Qingyun saw him quickly form a series of hand seals. These hand seals flew into the air above the great hall, and a huge blood-colored figure appeared at the top of the hall. As the blood-colored figure appeared, a terrifying and violent aura erupted from its body. This is the corpse of the amethyst thunder crystal dragon. Mo Qingyun's face was full of shock as he looked at the enormous dragon corpse in the air above the great hall. His emotions were in turmoil. After summoning the corpse, the middle-aged man's expression turned solemn. Sit down cross-legged and calm your mind. Prepare to accept the bloodline inheritance. Okay. Although he was shocked, Mo Qingyun nodded and followed the middle-aged man's instructions. When Mo Qingyun sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes to calm his mind, a huge array emerged. As soon as the array appeared, it emitted a mysterious power that enveloped Mo Qingyun. Immediately, the middle-aged man formed a hand seal and sent it into the huge dragon corpse. As soon as the hand seal entered the dragon corpse, It drew out a drop of dragon blood and flew it towards Mo Qingyun. Soon, the dragon blood entered Mo Qingyun's body and merged with Mo Qingyun's blood. Bang! When the blood merged, a terrifying aura erupted from Mo Qingyun's body. When this aura erupted, a huge amethyst thunder crystal dragon's blood shadow appeared outside of Mo Qingyun's body. The blood fusion is so perfect. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the middle-aged man was shocked. Once again, a look of surprise appeared on his face. Mo Qingyun's performance had once again exceeded his expectations. After the middle-aged man recovered from his shock, he released a force that enveloped Mo Qingyun. Soon, Mo Qingyun's violent aura calmed down bit by bit. Seeing that Mo Qingyun's aura had stabilized, the middle-aged man nodded in satisfaction and stopped attacking. Then, he stood silently to the side and watched Mo Qingyun's bloodline inheritance. Time passed quietly as Mo Qingyun accepted the inheritance. During this process, one could clearly see that Mo Qingyun's body was changing little by little. Slowly, he changed from a human form to a huge amethyst thunder crystal dragon. What a pure bloodline. It's comparable to the average amethyst thunder crystal dragon king. Sensing Mo Qingyun's bloodline aura, the middle-aged man's expression changed again. He looked pensive. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's performance was too abnormal. Under the middle-aged man's gaze, Mo Qingyun's aura stopped changing and the inheritance stopped completely. As the inheritance ended, Mo Qingyun also regained consciousness and withdrew from the state of cultivation. When Mo Qingyun saw his own appearance, he was instantly dumbfounded. He had turned into a dragon. What gave him a headache was that he couldn't turn back into a human. Chapter 3054. Brother Chu, how did I become a dragon? Looking at his own appearance, Mo Qingyun felt extremely depressed and hurriedly asked the middle-aged man in scholarly robes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the middle-aged man smiled faintly and said, "Your compatibility with the purple thunder crystal dragon's blood is more than 70%, which led to the awakening of your mighty body and the transformation of your demonic form. For our demon clan, demonic form is a good thing. Don't worry too much about it." Listening to the middle-aged man's explanation, Mo Qingyun relaxed a little and nodded in understanding. Even if it was a good thing, there was no need to worry too much. Knowing the reason for his dragon form, Mo Qingyun felt better and said, "Brother Chu, what should I do now to change back to human form?" "I'm afraid you can't change back to human form in a short time. You can only stay like this." The middle-aged man in scholarly robes shook his head and gave a simple answer, which made Mo Qingyun depressed to the extreme. "Can't change back to human form in a short time?" Mo Qingyun's dragon eyes widened. He was stunned by this news. Wasn't this a trap? What should he do now? Drag this cumbersome body around the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace and show off? Although he was very depressed in his heart, Mo Qingyun still had expectations. He said, "Big Brother Chu, when will I be able to regain my human form? Do you have any way to make me change back to human form faster?" In Mo Qingyun's opinion, the middle-aged man in scholarly robes had extraordinary methods. Perhaps he had some special methods. "Don't worry, you can maintain the purple thunder crystal dragon form for a short time." Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the middle-aged man knew what he was thinking. He comforted him and said, "Your current cultivation is at the quasi-heavenly soldier realm. As long as your cultivation breaks through the heavenly soldier realm, you can change back to human form." Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed. The worry in his heart was gone. He thought to himself, breaking through to the heavenly soldier realm means breaking through to the great emperor realm. With my current cultivation, I only need an opportunity to break through to the great emperor realm. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he felt much better. Although I couldn't change the situation in front of me, it was just as the middle-aged man said. It wouldn't take long for me to return to my human form. I can't change back to human form now. It seems like I can't return to the celestial domain grade. I hope Muan and the others are fine. Seeing that he would not be able to return in a short period of time, Mo Qingyun began to worry. He was afraid that Lei Muan and the others would be in trouble. After all, the Dark Demon clan was still eyeing them covetously. It would not be easy for the Anti-Demon Alliance to fight against them. While Mo Qingyun was thinking, the middle-aged man's expression turned serious. He turned around and walked out of the hall. Come with me. I'll take you to the demon transformation pool to cultivate. The pool is full of spirit force. If you cultivate there, you should be able to break through very quickly. Yes. Upon hearing the middle-aged man's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and followed him out of the hall. The demon transformation pool was not far from the inheritance hall. It only took Mo Qingyun 15 minutes to enter a valley. The valley was filled with birds, flowers, and trees. It was like a paradise. Looking at the valley and looking at the palace of the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace, Luo Yunyang fell out of place. As he walked into the valley, Mo Qingyun could clearly feel a dense energy emanating from it. What a strong energy fluctuation. It's at least 5 times stronger than the outside world. Sensing the energy fluctuations in the surroundings, Mo Qingyun's expression trembled, and a feeling of shock arose in his heart. Just the energy that was spreading out was 5 times stronger than the outside world. One could imagine how strong the spirit force in the demon transformation pool was. Under the guidance of the middle-aged man, Mo Qingyun quickly arrived at a pool. He saw a scene of mist lingering around it. Soon, the mist from the pool enveloped Mo Qingyun. What an abundant energy! Sensing the energy fluctuations in the mist, Mo Qingyun's heart was filled with joy, and he became excited. This mist wasn't ordinary mist, but a manifestation of spirit energy. For the next period of time, you can cultivate again. After bringing Mo Qingyun to the front of the demon transformation pool, the middle-aged man in scholarly robes gave him some instructions before he turned around and walked out, saying, "When you have successfully transformed, I will come and take you away. At that time, whether you want to stay in the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace to cultivate or have other plans is up to you." Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Mo Qingyun looked at his back and said, "Thank you, Brother Chu." Mo Qingyun thanked him and jumped into the demon transformation pool. He did not tell the middle-aged man what he was going to do next. After entering the demon transformation pool, Mo Qingyun could clearly feel a pure energy drilling into his body. The spirit force here is too dense. It is indeed a cultivation paradise of the celestial realm sex. Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh as he sensed the power within the demon transformation pool. He couldn't help but lament. If celestial domain grades had such a treasured land, their cultivation speed would be many times faster. Mo Qingyun mumbled to himself for a while before he stopped thinking about it and started to cultivate. Dark Sky Swallowing Gate. In order to increase the efficiency of his cultivation, Mo Qingyun used the Dark Sky Swallowing Gate to absorb the surrounding energy. Soon, a black light gate formed above Mo Qingyun's head. When the Dark Sky Swallowing Gate was formed, it emitted an astonishing power and frantically absorbed the surrounding mist. In just a short while, the mist lingering above the demon transformation pool was completely absorbed by the Dark Sky Swallowing Gate. As the mist of spirit force was completely absorbed, the scene inside the huge demon transformation pool was no longer concealed. What's going on? Why is the mist gone? Without the cover of the mist, wouldn't it be embarrassing if I didn't wear any clothes after completing my transformation? Who did this? I'll definitely teach them a lesson. Everyone, look over there. It's that fellow's fault. All the spiritual objects have been sucked away by him. Angry and dissatisfied voices could be heard from the demon transformation pool. Very quickly, different types of demonic beasts flew towards Mo Qingyun. Immediately, waves of sharp auras shrouded Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat when he sensed these unfriendly auras. He immediately opened his eyes. Soon after, he saw several enormous beasts standing in the air above his head. What's going on? Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun was immediately dumbfounded. His heart was completely stupefied. How had he been surrounded by a group of demonic beasts in the blink of an eye? This was too much of a joke. It was not fun at all. After sizing up the surrounding demonic beasts, Mo Qingyun had a rough idea of the reason. This was the demon transformation pool. They should be cultivating again and preparing to break through to the transformation realm. Chapter 3055. Who are you? Why are you here? Just as Mo Qingyun was feeling puzzled, a demonic snake wriggled its body and questioned him in a daze. It was a girl's voice. It seemed that the snake demon was a female. Hearing the snake demon's voice, Mo Qingyun did not beat around the bush. He said directly, "Brother Chu asked me to come here. He wants me to cultivate here so that he can break through and return to his human form." Return to his human form? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the beasts whispered to each other. They did not understand Mo Qingyun's words. Looking at the gigantic bodies in the air and whispering to each other, Mo Qingyun could not help but find it funny. He said that he's going to return to his human form. Was he originally human? If he was originally human, how did he turn into a dragon? That's strange. This guy is so well-behaved. He's different from us. I remember now. If he receives the ancestral beast's inheritance, his bloodline will be more than 70% complete. He will turn into a demon. You're saying that when he received the ancestral beast's inheritance, his bloodline compatibility was above 70%? That should be it. The beasts talked among themselves again. Then, the snake demon from before wiggled its body and flew closer to Mo Qingyun. It said, "Tell me honestly, did you receive the ancestral beast's inheritance and then go through the bloodline inheritance?" That's right. Mo Qingyun did not deny it. He nodded honestly and said, "Can't you see that my aura is the same as the purple thunder crystal dragon in the hall of bloodline inheritance?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the beasts fell silent. After a while, a rabbit demon said, Well, we are not qualified to enter the Hall of Inheritance. Only those who are appointed by the Palace Master are qualified to enter the Hall of Inheritance." The rabbit demon's answer surprised Mo Qingyun. He was even more grateful to the middle-aged man. He and the middle-aged man in scholarly attire could be considered to have met by chance. He didn't expect that the middle-aged man would cultivate him like this. This really moved him. As Mo Qingyun lamented, a tiger-like demonic beast shouted coldly, "You said that you have the aura of the Inheritance Hall's purple thunder crystal dragon. We have never been to the Inheritance Hall. How can we know that you are not lying to us?" Hearing the tiger demon's words, Mo Qingyun did not say much. He raised his hand and took out a token, saying, "Can this thing prove that I'm not lying?" Seeing the token in Mo Qingyun's hand, all the demons were dumbfounded and their bodies began to tremble. This is the Palace Master token. He actually has the Palace Master token. Seeing the token is the same as seeing the Palace Lord. The Palace Lord gave him the Palace Lord token. Could it be that he wants him to inherit the position of Palace Lord? So he's our young Palace Master. Greetings, young Palace Master. Please forgive us for offending you just now. The little demons communicated with each other. Their attitude towards Mo Qingyun immediately became respectful. Seeing the demonic beast behavior, Mo Qingyun felt helpless. He said, "All right, the misunderstanding has been cleared up. You all can leave. I want to continue cultivating." Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, the demons respectfully retreated. When the demonic beast left, a few bold female demons kept glancing at Mo Qingyun. "Young Palace Master, I am cultivating on the west side of the demon transformation pool. You can come and cultivate with me." "Young Palace Master, you sucked away all the spirit mist and saw my body. You have to take responsibility for me." "Yes, young Palace Master has to take responsibility for us. You also saw my body." A few little demons were angry at Mo Qingyun and twisted their bodies. Seeing the demonic beast's behavior, Mo Qingyun suddenly felt a headache. He really couldn't communicate with them. What made Mo Qingyun feel a little relieved was that the little demons didn't pester him too much. They left after a few teasing words. After the demonic beasts left, Mo Qingyun collected his thoughts and continued to cultivate. Because of the small trouble caused by devouring the spiritual object, Mo Qingyun removed the dark swallowing sky gate. Then, Mo Qingyun used his own ability to absorb the spiritual energy in the demon transformation pool. The pool was full of spiritual energy. Even without the dark swallowing sky gate, Mo Qingyun cultivated very quickly. Under Mo Qingyun's absorption, streams of spiritual energy flew out of the demon transformation pool and flew towards Mo Qingyun as if they were alive. When the spiritual energy entered his body, Mo Qingyun refined it and improved his cultivation. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was refining the spiritual energy, his fusion with the purple thunder crystal dragon's blood was becoming more and more complete. What shocked Mo Qingyun was that at this moment, the purple thunder crystal dragon blood began to grow in his body. In other words, his current physical condition was no different from that of a real purple thunder crystal dragon. Soon after, the aura emitted by Mo Qingyun grew stronger and stronger. Sensing the change in Mo Qingyun's aura, the little demons in the demon transformation pool were alarmed again. Young Palace Master's aura is so strong. I feel that even those in the heavenly soldier realm can't compare to him. No wonder Palace Master thinks highly of him. His talent is too terrifying. Of course, if young Palace Master's talent wasn't high, how could he have inherited the purple thunder crystal dragon? The little demons admired him. Then, they stopped cultivating and observed Mo Qingyun from the side. Under the observation of the little demons, Mo Qingyun's aura became stronger and stronger. Time passed little by little. After a long time, Mo Qingyun's aura finally reached a limit. Sensing Mo Qingyun's aura reaching its limit, the demons knew what was going on. Mo Qingyun was about to break through. Knowing this, the demons' expressions became tense, and they all stared at Mo Qingyun with wide eyes. Roar! Under the watchful eyes of the demons, Mo Qingyun roared and let out an earth-shattering dragon's roar. Soon after, the aura emitted from his body reached a whole new level. As Mo Qingyun's cultivation broke through, his body also changed, and he slowly turned into a human. Seeing that he had transformed into a human, Mo Qingyun's heart relaxed. His heart that had been hanging in the air finally relaxed. However, before Mo Qingyun could rejoice, he heard a series of screams. Wow, young Palace Master is so handsome. He's my type. Hee, young Palace Master is also attracted to me. And he's in human form. I've hit the jackpot. Young Palace Master, you looked at me, and now I've looked at you. We're even. Good thing I didn't cultivate. This scene is too exciting. The voices of the female demons could be heard. Hearing the voices around him, Mo Qingyun's face twitched, and he glanced around. Then he was completely dumbfounded and stood rooted to the ground. He saw the demonesses staring at him with their eyes wide open in excitement. Judging by their behavior, they wanted to swallow him whole. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he didn't hesitate at all. He immediately put on his clothes and slipped away. He had no choice but to leave. His body had been seen, and he was surrounded. He had really embarrassed himself this time. Chapter 3056. Look at you guys, you're like wolves and tigers. You scared the young Palace Master away. The young Palace Master looks so cute when she's shy. She's just my type. So what if you like her? I don't know what you'll look like after you transform. I don't know what I look like yet, but I'll definitely look good after I transform. When Mo Qingyun fled the scene, a burst of laughter entered his ears. Hearing the words of those little monsters, Mo Qingyun broke out in a cold sweat. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Are all monsters so unrestrained? A strong doubt arose in Mo Qingyun's heart, making his mood extremely complicated. He thought to himself, it seems that I can't come to the 10,000 monsters Emperor Palace in the future. This is definitely a dark history. Mo Qingyun came to the entrance of the valley. He took out the palace master token and contacted the middle-aged man through it. After receiving Mo Qingyun's summons, the middle-aged man didn't delay and immediately came to lead him out. When he came in front of Mo Qingyun, the middle-aged man smiled and looked at Mo Qingyun with appreciation. I didn't expect you to break through to the heavenly soldier realm so quickly. It's much faster than I expected. Your cultivation talent is amazing. No wonder you reached the quasi-heavenly soldier realm in less than 100 years in the astral region. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the middle-aged man's words. With a depressed expression, he said, "Brother Chu, why didn't you tell me in advance that I'm not the only one in the demon transformation pool? More importantly, why are there so many female monsters in the demon transformation pool?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the middle-aged man was stunned and showed a look of realization. If he wasn't wrong, he should have forgotten that there were still monsters in the demon transformation pool. The middle-aged man pondered for a moment and smiled with interest. "Little friend Mo, you peeked to the women of my clan in the demon transformation pool and were caught red-handed by them?" As soon as he heard the middle-aged man's question, Mo Qingyun's expression froze, and then he wanted to cry, but had no tears. Did he want to watch a demoness transform? This joke was too big. He wasn't the one watching the demonesses transform, but the demonesses were watching him transform. What's more, there was a large group of demonesses watching. That scene was too exciting. Seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, the middle-aged man frowned, knowing that he had guessed wrong. Then, a curious expression appeared on his face as he asked Mo Qingyun, "What exactly happened to you in the demon transformation pool?" "Forget it. Let's not talk about it." Mo Qingyun really didn't want to talk about such an embarrassing thing. Seeing that Mo Qingyun wasn't far away, the middle-aged man didn't ask any more questions. He nodded and turned around to leave. At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun was about to leave, a young girl in a green dress approached him with a sweet smile. When the young girl approached, she even threw coquettish glances at Mo Qingyun, looking very charming. Seeing the girl's behavior, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire showed a curious expression and looked at the two of them with interest. There was a lot of information contained in the young girl's behavior. Although he wasn't a person who liked to gossip, he rarely encountered such an interesting matter. In particular, he was very interested in Mo Qingyun. He wanted to know what happened to him in the demon transformation pool. Yun Luo greets the palace master. The young girl came in front of the middle-aged man in scholarly attire and bowed respectfully. In response to the young girl's salute, the middle-aged man waved his hand indifferently and said with a faint smile, "Yun Luo, did you bully little friend Mo in the demon transformation pool?" "Little friend Mo?" "So the young palace master's surname is Mo. I'm the first to know your surname." Hearing the middle-aged man's question, Yun Luo smiled slyly and stuck out her tongue at Mo Qingyun. "Young palace master, Yun Luo was busy transforming just now and didn't get to watch your transformation process. It's really a pity. The other sisters all saw it, but we didn't see it. How are you going to compensate me?" Hearing Yun Luo's words, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire had a strange expression. He roughly knew what happened. No wonder this kid is so depressed. It turns out that he was taken advantage of by a group of little demons. Thinking of Mo Qingyun's appearance at that time, the middle-aged man couldn't help but laugh at this moment and said, "Little friend Mo, I didn't know that my clansmen liked you so much. How about I be a matchmaker for you and arrange a few good-looking girls in my clan to be your Dao companion?" Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Yin Luo's eyes immediately lit up and she looked eager to try. Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Mo Qingyun suddenly pulled a long face and said with a depressed expression, "Big brother Chu, why are you also making fun of me? To be honest, I'm already married. It was purely an accident that I came to the heaven realm this time." The middle-aged man in scholarly attire and Yin Luo didn't care about Mo Qingyun's explanation and didn't have much emotional fluctuation. However, seeing that Mo Qingyun didn't have this idea, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire didn't say anything more. He waved his hand to Yin Luo and said, I still have something to discuss with little friend Mo. You can leave first. Yes. Yin Luo nodded, then winked at Mo Qingyun and said, Young palace master, I live in the outer court disciples' courtyard. You must come and find me. As soon as Yin Luo's words fell, she left happily. After Yin Luo left, Mo Qingyun showed a puzzled expression and said, Big brother Chu, I took out your palace master token. Why do they all call me young palace master? The middle-aged man in scholarly attire replied, This is not strange. The palace master token represents me. Ordinary people can't get it all. If you can get it, then you have my approval and can be regarded as the potential successor of the palace master. So that's how it is. Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. Then he looked a little embarrassed and said, But if you give me the palace master token, won't I? Before Mo Qingyun could finish speaking, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire interrupted him. You don't have to feel burdened. I gave you the palace master token because I think highly of you and have a good impression of you. I'm not letting you inherit the position of the palace master. That's good. Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed when he heard the middle-aged man's words. He was still anxious to return to the celestial domain grade and end his feud with the dark demon race. He wanted to stay in the 10,000 demon emperor palace and inherit the mantle of the middle-aged man in scholarly attire and become the palace master of the 10,000 demon emperor palace. This definitely wouldn't do. More importantly, the group of small demons in the demon transformation pool was also giving him a headache. The middle-aged man in scholarly attire shook his head when he saw Mo Qingyun's reaction. He didn't know what to say. Everyone else wanted to inherit the position of the palace master. Now that the opportunity was in front of Mo Qingyun, he couldn't wait to avoid it. This contrast was too great. However, it was also because of this that he thought highly of Mo Qingyun. After glancing at Mo Qingyun, the middle-aged man in scholarly attire didn't say anything else. Instead, he turned around and left. Mo Qingyun followed closely after the middle-aged man in scholarly attire left. Chapter 3057. A moment later, Mo Qingyun followed the middle-aged man to a secluded courtyard. When they arrived outside the courtyard, the middle-aged man pointed at the courtyard and said, This is the courtyard for the direct disciples. You will live here from now on. Okay. Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and didn't try to be polite. After arranging a residence for Mo Qingyun, the middle-aged man in scholarly robes did not stay any longer. He said, If there is nothing else, you can stay here and cultivate in peace. If you need anything, you can ask the deacons and elders in the palace. Of course, you can go to the village to take a look. You have my palace master token, so the village's array formation won't reject you. Mo Qingyun nodded after listening to the middle-aged man's instructions. Mo Qingyun thought for a while and said, Big brother Chu, I might try to return to the celestial domain grade after some time. I will come to the 10,000 demon emperor palace to settle down after I deal with the celestial domain grade matters. Mo Qingyun didn't want to hide his plans from the middle-aged man after thinking about how well he had taken care of him. The middle-aged man didn't say much after hearing Mo Qingyun's thoughts. He nodded and said, I can't go to the celestial domain grade with you, nor can I help you return to the celestial domain grade. However, you can come to the 10,000 demon emperor palace as long as I'm here. The middle-aged man's words immediately moved Mo Qingyun. He immediately bowed to the middle-aged man and said, Thank you, big brother Chu. I will definitely remember your kindness. The middle-aged man waved his hand and turned to leave. Mo Qingyun didn't say anything else as he watched the middle-aged man's back. He didn't make any more promises. All promises were no different from empty words before they were fulfilled. If he wanted to repay the middle-aged man, he would have the opportunity to do so after he dealt with the celestial domain grade matters and returned to the celestial domain. After watching the middle-aged man leave, Mo Qingyun walked into the courtyard and entered the largest room. Mo Qingyun entered the room and sat cross-legged on the bed. He focused his mind and began to cultivate. As Mo Qingyun began to cultivate, he released his spiritual force to sense the changes in his body. Mo Qingyun sensed that his body was much stronger than before. With the current strength of my body, even a high-level Imperial armament would not be able to cause me any harm. Mo Qingyun was shocked when he sensed the strength of his body. He was shocked by this increase. At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun's heart was filled with shock as his body transformed, a buzzing sound suddenly rang out in his mind. When Mo Qingyun felt the movement in his mind, his heart skipped a beat. He knew what was going to happen. This was the response from the Gate of Fortune. A new divine ability was about to appear. Then, Mo Qingyun sent his consciousness into his knowledge sea, sensing the location of the Gate of Fortune. Under Mo Qingyun's perception, he discovered the hidden Gate of Good Fortune and began to observe its movements. The Gate of Fortune flickered with light. Inside the Gate of Fortune was chaos, and a terrifying energy fluctuation was emitted. At the source of the energy fluctuation, a door of light made of green leaves entered Mo Qingyun's perception. What kind of door is this? Observing the door of light made of green leaves, Mo Qingyun felt a sense of curiosity. He wanted to know what it was used for. Under his intense curiosity, Mo Qingyun activated the green door of light, wanting to test its effects. As Mo Qingyun activated the green door of light, his consciousness was dragged into the green door of light, and he saw many gray figures. Some of these gray figures were strong, some were weak, some were far, and some were near. However, without exception, the aura of these gray figures was much stronger than what Mo Qingyun had seen. What is this place? Why are there so many remnant souls? Observing the gray figures, Mo Qingyun felt a strong sense of doubt. He was even more curious about the green door of light. After pondering for a while, Mo Qingyun locked onto the figure with the weakest aura and decided to use him to test the power of the green door of light. Come out! With a thought from Mo Qingyun, the weakest gray figure was dragged to the exit of the green door of light. The gray figure approached the entrance of the green door of light. His figure kept materializing, and his body began to emit the aura of life. From the looks of it, it seemed like he was about to be resurrected. As the gray figure began to resurrect, Mo Qingyun was surprised to find that his saint power was rapidly depleting. Could it be that the new door of light's ability is resurrection, to resurrect the dead? After some testing, Mo Qingyun immediately guessed what the new door of light's ability was. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was puzzled, a huge amount of memories poured into his mind. Tying mountain demon snake, great cosmological abyss shadow python Zhao Suns, cultivated for 100,000 years to transform. Went to the grand beginning ruins to seek opportunities, died at the hands of young Lord Jioxia. Cultivation before death, complete heavenly soldier. Streams of unfamiliar information entered Mo Qingyun's mind. When the information appeared in his mind, Mo Qingyun immediately knew that it was the gray figure's information. Could it be that when I resurrect these gray figures, I can learn their information when they were alive? Mo Qingyun's thoughts were clear, and he quickly guessed the reason. The doubts in his mind were solved. Before long, the gray figure came out of the green door of light and came before Mo Qingyun. It was a middle-aged man in gray robes. His expression was cold, and his eyes emitted a cold light. Greetings, benefactor Zhao Suns. The gray-robed middle-aged man glanced at Mo Qingyun, and then he bowed to Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was calm in the face of Zhao Sun's action. He waved his hand indifferently and said, "No need to be so polite. Stand up first." "Yes," Zhao Sun answered and stood before Mo Qingyun respectfully. Seeing that Zhao Sun did not do anything, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed. Just now, in order to resurrect Zhao Sun, he had used up almost 90% of his saint power. If Zhao Sun wanted to harm him, he would not be able to stop him. However, from the looks of the situation, Zhao Sun did not have any ill intentions. Mo Qingyun let go of his worries. He sorted out the information in his mind and understood the current situation. Zhao Sun's did not question Mo Qingyun's actions. He stood aside silently with a respectful expression. Time passed bit by bit. As he sorted out Zhao Sun's memories, Mo Qingyun completely understood Zhao Sun's. At the same time, he had a clear understanding of his relationship with Zhao Sun's. He had resurrected Zhao Sun's through the green door of light, which was equivalent to letting him experience a reincarnation. The current Zhao Sun's needed to rely on him to live. In other words, Mo Qingyun was the host, and Zhao Sun's was the parasite. If Mo Qingyun was in danger, Zhao Sun's would be the first to be hurt. This was equivalent to Mo Qingyun having an extra shield. Zhao Sun's will be the first to bear any harm. When Zhao Sun's could not bear it, it would then affect him. Upon discovering this, a faint smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face. He was very satisfied with this supernatural power. This divine power seemed to be too powerful. Chapter 3058. There are too many people in the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. It's not good for you to stay here. I'll send you somewhere else first. After knowing some information about the new mystique, Mo Qingyun looked at Zhao Sun's and immediately made a decision. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhao Sun's eyes flashed with surprise. He looked at Mo Qingyun in shock and said, I didn't expect Benefactor to be a disciple of the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. No wonder you know such a mysterious method to let me experience reincarnation. Looking at Zhao Sun's agitated expression, Mo Qingyun shook his head helplessly. Was there a need to be like this? I'm not a disciple of the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. I'm just familiar with Big Brother Chu. After calming down, Mo Qingyun gave a simple reply. He didn't think there was anything to be surprised about. However, what Mo Qingyun didn't expect was that Zhao Sun's expression became even more shocked after hearing his words. He said, Benefactor, the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace is the Sage Emperor of the Wisdom Demon faction. I also wanted to enter the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace to cultivate. Unfortunately, my birth was too low and I didn't have the qualifications. In the past, I did some research on the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. The only people with the surname Chu in the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace are Palace Master Chu Jiangshao, Elder Chu Xiaohua, and Ancestor Chu Yuling who hasn't appeared in 100 million years. These three are all important figures. I didn't expect Benefactor to be familiar with them. The more Zhao Sun spoke, the more excited he became. The gaze he looked at Mo Qingyun with became more and more respectful. Seeing Zhao Sun's reaction, Mo Qingyun shook his head helplessly and said, You guessed right. I'm familiar with the Palace Master of the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace. We can be considered friends despite our age difference. Zhao Sun's body trembled. He was so excited that his body trembled. He looked like he couldn't calm down. Although he had guessed that Mo Qingyun had a powerful background, it was still far beyond his expectations. Ignoring Zhao Sun's reaction, Mo Qingyun waved his hand and said, I'm going to send you away now. There will be a force enveloping you later. Don't resist. Yes. Zhao Sun nodded respectfully. Then, a powerful force enveloped Zhao Sun, sending him to the Fortune Mainland. When Zhao Sun entered the Fortune Mainland, he was even more shocked than before, as if he was completely dumbfounded. This wasn't to be blamed. First, he had experienced reincarnation. Then, he heard that Mo Qingyun and Chu Jiangshao were close. However, this was not the most important thing. With a wave of his hand, Mo Qingyun sent him into another world. This kind of method could be said to be unfathomable, all-encompassing, and beyond the scope of everyone's understanding. Mo Qingyun used his divine sense to observe the Fortune Mainland. After giving some instructions to Zhao Sun, he ignored Zhao Sun. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's powerful methods, Zhao Sun was extremely impressed by Mo Qingyun and did not dare to have the slightest disobedience. It couldn't be helped. Mo Qingyun's level of contact was too high for him. In Zhao Sun's opinion, Although Mo Qingyun's cultivation was not high, he was not someone he could offend. Putting aside Mo Qingyun's background, just Mo Qingyun's various abilities made Zhao Sun's not dare to show the slightest disrespect. Since Mo Qingyun could send him into reincarnation, it wouldn't be difficult for him to make him disappear. The new ability can send people into reincarnation. Let's call it the Gate of Reincarnation. After settling Zhao Sun's down, Mo Qingyun's lips curved into a faint smile as he gave the new ability a name. After knowing the new ability's function, Mo Qingyun did not think too much about it. He sat down cross-legged to recover his energy. Just now, he had consumed a large amount of holy force to send Zhao Sun's into reincarnation. He needed to cultivate to recover. As Mo Qingyun recovered his energy, everything returned to normal. Several hours later, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating. The holy force he had consumed earlier was now fully recovered. Seeing that his cultivation had broken through and he had returned to his human form, Mo Qingyun did not plan to stay any longer. Calculating the time, it had been almost a month since he came to the Heaven Realm. I wonder how the Star Boundary Realm is. How are Mu Wan and the rest now? Under the intense worry, Mo Qingyun did not want to delay any longer. He was ready to go to the Star Boundary Realm to take a look. Immediately, Mo Qingyun got up and walked out of the house. He followed the original path through the spatial crack and left. Mo Qingyun came out of the house, and Mo Qingyun walked towards the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace's exit. On the way, Mo Qingyun met some disciples and immediately attracted their attention. A female disciple, in particular, looked at him with a strange look in her eyes. That gaze was not much different from the gaze Yin Luo used to look at him. This discovery made Mo Qingyun sweat profusely. This was really too embarrassing. Young Palace Master, where are you going? Do you need Yin Luo to accompany you? Just as Mo Qingyun was having a headache, a familiar voice entered his ears. Hearing Yin Luo's words, Mo Qingyun felt a headache coming on. The more he avoided, the more likely he would encounter her. Soon, a beautiful figure walked towards him with a faint smile on her face. So it's Yin Luo. Looking at the woman in front of him, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and nodded humbly. Although he did not want to see this woman, since he had met her, he still had to maintain his poise. After greeting Yin Luo, Mo Qingyun said with a serious face, I have something to do and need to leave the palace. I won't chat with you. Oh, is that so? Yin Luo's eyes lit up, and she smiled sweetly. What a coincidence. I'm also going out. Tell me where you're going. Maybe we'll go the same way. Mo Qingyun felt a headache coming on. Was this a coincidence? I'm going to the Eastern Wilderness Demon Sky Mountain Range. Mo Qingyun didn't reject Yin Luo's question directly. Instead, he responded with a simple sentence. What made Mo Qingyun even more speechless was that Yin Luo's smile widened when she heard his words. She said, Young Palace Lord, what a coincidence. I'm also going to the Eastern Wastelands, Yao Sky Mountain Range, to visit my elders. Mo Qingyun was completely speechless. How could they meet each other? Yin Luo did not care about Mo Qingyun's depression at all. She immediately winked at Mo Qingyun teasingly. She thought my sisters are right. Young Palace Master is really cute. You look so cute. It's rare to see such a guy in the Demon Clan. This little guy is really cute. He's my type. Of course, Yin Luo did not tell Mo Qingyun what she was thinking. Looking at Mo Qingyun's depressed look, Yin Luo smiled sweetly and said, Young Palace Master, I grew up in the Demon Sky Mountain Range. I'm very familiar with all of you. If you come with me, you might be able to avoid some trouble. Hearing Yin Luo's words, Mo Qingyun was a little depressed. He did not want to travel with Yin Luo. However, he had to admit that Yin Luo's words were very reasonable. If he traveled with her, it might be difficult to avoid some trouble. Mo Qingyun thought about it and made a decision. He nodded and said, In that case, let's go together. Yin Luo had already said so. If he blindly refused, it would be very disrespectful. Soon after, Mo Qingyun and Yin Luo left the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace together. Chapter 3059. After leaving the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace, Missouri Qingyun didn't say anything and flew straight into the Demon Sky mountain range. Yin Luo didn't mind Mo Qingyun's behavior at all and silently followed Mo Qingyun. The two of them quickly entered the mountain range, and Mo Qingyun became cautious, avoiding the powerful demonic beasts along the way. Seeing Mo Qingyun's behavior, Yin Luo was puzzled and turned to look at Mo Qingyun. Young Palace Master, didn't the Palace Master give you the God Emperor's source to drive away the demonic beasts along the way? God Emperor's source? Hearing Yin Luo's question, Mo Qingyun was stunned and shook his head. It wasn't that Chu Jiangshao didn't give it to him. It was that he didn't know what it was and didn't ask. When Mo Qingyun answered Yin Luo, he was shocked to find that Chu Jiangshao was actually a God Emperor expert. After interacting with Chu Jiangshao for the past few days, he knew that Chu Jiangshao was very strong, but he didn't expect him to be this strong. Even in the vast heaven realm, a God Emperor expert was considered to be at the top of the pyramid. Seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, Yin Luo's beautiful eyes blinked and a trace of surprise flashed across them. From Mo Qingyun's behavior, it seemed like he didn't know what a God Emperor's source was. This was too strange. Without waiting for Yin Luo to ask, Mo Qingyun changed the topic and said, "If that's the case, you brought a God Emperor's source?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Yin Luo shook her head and said, "My clan's old ancestors' cultivation is only at the early stage of the God King realm and hasn't comprehended the power of Heaven's source. However, my clan once had a God Emperor expert. During the process of his metamorphosis, he left behind some of his shed nails. On his nails, there were remnants of the God Emperor's aura that could deter some demonic beasts and make them not dare to attack me." As Yin Luo spoke, a claw-like nail appeared in her hand. Looking at the nail in Yin Luo's hand, Mo Qingyun was stunned and felt that he had learned something new. Previously, he had used some methods to conceal his aura to avoid being hunted down by some demonic beasts. Yin Luo had never used the aura of a powerhouse to intimidate the demonic beasts. She had never used it before. "Let's go." Yin Luo smiled sweetly and flew into the Demon Sky mountain range. As the fingernail was taken out, Mo Qingyun clearly felt that some of the nearby monstrous beasts had quieted down. Some of the weaker demonic beasts were so scared that they were trembling. They didn't even dare to breathe. "That's a good idea." Sensing the situation around him, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction. He thought to himself, "The next time I meet Big Brother Chu, I can ask him for some God Emperor source energy. It should be a good choice to use it to chase away the demonic beasts blocking my way." While Mo Qingyun was thinking, Yin Luo looked at him and said, "Young Palace Master, where are you going?" "I'll go with you. Then I'll have to trouble you." Mo Qingyun didn't reject Yin Luo's good intentions and began to lead the way. In his opinion, with Yin Luo following him, it would save him a lot of trouble. Just as Mo Qingyun had guessed, with Yin Luo following him, the journey could be said to be smooth and unobstructed. After traveling for about 3/4 of the way, Yin Luo suddenly stopped, her beautiful face tensed up. Seeing Yin Luo's expression, Mo Qingyun asked curiously, "What's wrong? Is there something wrong?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Yin Luo nodded and said, "Young Palace Master, in front of us is the territory of the brute demons. If we barge in, we will probably be in great danger." Yin Luo's answer surprised Mo Qingyun, and he couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. From Yin Luo's words, he roughly understood that once they entered the territory of the brute demons, her God Emperor source energy wouldn't be of much use. "In that case, let's part ways here." Seeing that Yin Luo couldn't help him, Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste her time. He cupped his hands and thanked her. "Miss Yin Luo, thank you for sending me off. After we part ways here, please be careful on your way back to your clan." Seeing Mo Qingyun's courteous actions, Yin Luo was slightly stunned, and her beautiful eyes looked curiously at Mo Qingyun. Seeing Yin Luo's reaction, Mo Qingyun was also stunned, and some doubts arose in his heart. He said, Miss Yin Luo, what's wrong? Did I say something wrong? Yin Luo shook her head and said, Young palace master, the feeling you give me is completely different from other noble young masters. You don't have the slightest bit of a foppish aura and are very humble. No wonder the palace master thinks so highly of you. Mo Qingyun smiled and didn't say anything. This was his way of doing things. If others respected him, he would return the favor tenfold. If others schemed against him, he wouldn't hesitate to return the favor. Seeing that Mo Qingyun didn't say anything, Yin Luo thought for a moment and said, Young palace master, I have a small request. Can you agree to it? Hearing Yin Luo's request, Mo Qingyun nodded without hesitation and said, Say it. If it's within my ability, I definitely won't refuse you. Mo Qingyun thought to himself. After receiving so much help from Yin Luo, agreeing to a small request from Yin Luo wasn't a problem. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yin Luo's pretty face lit up and said, Young palace master, can I follow you into the brute demon area to take a look? You're coming with me? Hearing Yin Luo's request, Mo Qingyun frowned and felt a sense of difficulty in his heart. He knew very well what kind of strength the brute demons near the spatial crack were at. If nothing unexpected happened, they were at least at the heavenly general level, or even at the great god level. With his current strength, it was absolutely impossible for him to fight against that brute demon. It was too dangerous to bring Yin Luo along. Seeing Mo Qingyun's troubled expression, Yin Luo's pretty face tensed up and she hurriedly said, Young palace master, you don't have to worry about my safety. When I left the clan, the ancestor gave me many methods to sign up. Perhaps they can be of help to you. As Yin Luo spoke, she even winked at Mo Qingyun and waved the God Emperor's fingernail in her hand. Hearing Yin Luo's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and said, Since that's the case, you can come with me. However, let me make it clear to you first. If you encounter any danger, I won't be able to take care of you. I know. Yin Luo nodded nonchalantly. Soon after, Mo Qingyun and Yin Luo carefully entered the brute demon area together. When they arrived at the brute demon area, Yin Luo's pretty face tensed up and was no longer as indifferent as before. However, although Yin Luo looked nervous, she didn't show any fear and followed closely behind Mo Qingyun. Since he had been here before, he had some foresight about the dangers in this area. As Mo Qingyun hurried along, he didn't disturb any demonic beasts. After a few hours, Mo Qingyun finally arrived in front of the spatial crack. Bookmark for easy reading. Chapter 3060. Mo Qingyun stopped when he saw the spatial crack not far away. He clearly remembered that there was a terrifying brute demon near the spatial crack. Yin Luo's expression changed when she saw the terrifying spatial crack. She exclaimed, What's going on? Why is there a huge spatial crack here and it's not healing on its own? This situation was simply too strange for Yin Luo. Yin Luo was not the only one who was puzzled. Mo Qingyun was the same. Logically speaking, they should not be able to destroy the heaven realm space, even if they destroyed the star boundary realm space. Although he was puzzled, Mo Qingyun did not care about it. It was not the time to think about it. There's a powerful brute demon here. Be careful when he attacks later. Mo Qingyun released his divine thought and carefully sensed the surroundings before warning Yin Luo. Yin Luo's expression changed when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. She could tell that Mo Qingyun and the brute demon seemed to have had a confrontation. Let's go. As soon as Mo Qingyun said that, he got up and walked forward, inching closer to the spatial crack. Yin Luo's face tensed up when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. She quickly followed. Mo Qingyun was envious when he saw the various rare treasures in front of him. He wanted to take them all. However, Mo Qingyun gave up on the idea when he thought about how he would alarm the brute demon if he took these spiritual herbs. Yin Luo's expression changed when she saw the spiritual herbs in front of her. She was surprised and said, There are so many spiritual herbs here. It seems that the brute demon nearby is not simple. Mo Qingyun nodded and did not reply to her. The two of them proceeded cautiously, and soon they had covered a certain distance. We're almost there. I hope the guy didn't notice us. Mo Qingyun's expression tensed up when he saw the spatial crack getting closer and closer. He was getting more and more nervous. Yun Luo was also nervous when she saw Mo Qingyun's nervous expression. She even held her breath. Roar! At this moment, a shocking roar suddenly came from not far away. Following that, Mo Qingyun and Yi Zichen saw a huge creature flying towards them. This is an early-stage great god barbaric demon, dragon claw blazing sun leopard. Yun Luo's beautiful face trembled when she saw the huge creature flying over. She immediately recognized it. Then, her face turned pale and she was at a loss for what to do. With his cultivation at the early stage of the heavenly soldier realm, he had no resistance at all in the face of such an existence. Heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Seeing the appearance of the dragon claw ardent sun leopard, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately took out the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. After summoning the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, Mo Qingyun pushed Yun Luo into the bell. Sky-shattering Tyrannosaurus fist. There's a limit to how much damage a person can take. Mo Qingyun thought to himself. He started to consider whether he should resurrect a few more people. After pondering for a while, he decided to wait until his injuries were healed before using the gate of reincarnation to resurrect a few more people. Even if they couldn't block the attack for him, having a few more Saint Emperor-level helpers was not a bad thing. I'll recover first. I'll make plans after returning to the Star Realm world. Discarding the distracting thoughts in his mind, Mo Qingyun sat down cross-legged to recover from his injuries. Watching Mo Qingyun recuperating, Yun Luo did not disturb him, silently watching over him from the side. Recalling how Mo Qingyun had risked his life to send her into the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, Yun Luo's gaze softened. After carefully sizing up Mo Qingyun, the corners of Yun Luo's mouth curled up slightly. She revealed a sweet smile and said, "Young Palace Master is indeed different from the noble young masters of the Heaven Realm. I'm getting more and more curious about him. What does he try to do by entering the space crack?" Strong doubts arose in Yun Luo's heart. She wanted to figure it out. Under Yun Luo's protection, Mo Qingyun's injuries gradually healed and color returned to his face. Seeing that Mo Qingyun's injuries were getting better, the worry in Yun Luo's heart was completely relieved. Loading up next chapters. When Mo Qingyun's figure reappeared, he had already passed through the spatial rift and returned to the astral boundary. However, although Mo Qingyun had passed through the spatial rift, he had paid a great price. At this moment, his body was covered in hideous wounds. His clothes were dyed red with blood. Looking at his own situation, Mo Qingyun felt a lingering fear. Then he rejoiced and said, "Fortunately, I received the bloodline inheritance and strengthened my physique. Otherwise, I would not have been able to withstand the impact of the spatial crack." After observing his situation and changing into a new set of clothes, Mo Qingyun let Yun Luo use the heaven-sealing purple thunderbell. "Young Palace Master, you're injured." Although Mo Qingyun had changed his clothes, Yun Luo could still see that he was heavily injured. In response to Yun Luo's worry, Mo Qingyun smiled and waved his hand. "It's just a small injury. Let's go." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he led the way in front to find Lei Muin and the others. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yun Luo followed closely behind and looked around curiously. The concentration of spiritual power here is so low. The cultivation environment is so bad. Sensing the power in the space, Yun Luo's pretty face tensed up. A look of surprise appeared on her face. What is the young palace master doing here? Looking at him, he seems to be very familiar with this place. Could it be? A bold thought occurred to her, but Yin Luo shook her head. She felt that it was somewhat impossible. If that was really the case, then Mo Qingyun's cultivation talent was simply too terrifying. Yun Luo's imagination ran wild as she followed Mo Qingyun and looked around curiously. About an hour later, with Mo Qingyun and Yun Luo flying, they arrived at a continent and found a stronghold of the Anti-Demon Alliance. Entering the stronghold of the Anti-Demon Alliance, Yun Luo's face was filled with curiosity. She asked, "Young Palace Master, what is this place? The people here are so weak." Huh? Mo Qingyun chuckled at Yun Luo's question, but didn't answer. The arrival of Mo Qingyun and Yun Luo immediately attracted the attention of some people. Among them, there were people that Mo Qingyun was familiar with. Shui Chunying, who was dealing with some matters in the hall, saw Mo Qingyun and Yun Luo approaching. Her face was filled with surprise, and she said, "Mr. Mo, you're back. It's great that you're fine." Shui Chunying did not expect Mo Qingyun to return safely with a beauty by his side. Looking at Yun Luo, a strange smile appeared on Shui Chunying's face. She said, "Mr. Mo, who is this girl? I don't think I've seen her before." "She's a fellow disciple of mine, Yun Luo." In response to Shui Chunying's question, Mo Qingyun gave a simple introduction. He said, "Brother Shui, what's the situation like now? Where are the people from the True Demon Palace?" Chapter 3062. Young Palace Master, is this your hometown? Coming out of the Anti-Demon Alliance, Yun Luo's beautiful eyes widened as she looked at Mo Qingyun in surprise. Upon hearing Yun Luo's question, Mo Qingyun nodded and said, "You can say that. However, I wasn't born in the Nebula Realm, but in an even lower cultivation continent." Mo Qingyun wasn't worried that Yun Luo would harm him if she found out. He could tell that Yun Luo wasn't that kind of person. An even lower cultivation continent. Yun Luo felt dizzy. She was shocked by Mo Qingyun's words. In her opinion, the Starfield realm that Mo Qingyun was born in was already a lower cultivation realm. In a place like the Starfield realm, Mo Qingyun could cultivate to the Heavenly Soldier realm within 100 years. This kind of cultivation speed was already very shocking. However, she hadn't expected that Mo Qingyun was actually born in an even lower cultivation continent. In this way, Mo Qingyun's cultivation speed was really a little scary. If the young palace master was born in the celestial realm, what cultivation level would he be at now? Yin Luo's beautiful eyes moved. She couldn't help but daydream and guess what achievements Mo Qingyun could possibly achieve. Mo Qingyun didn't care about what Yin Luo was thinking. He rushed at full speed to the true absolute beginning Demon Hall's base. Mo Qingyun and Yun Luo flew at full speed. It only took them half a day to reach the true absolute beginning Demon Hall's base. At the moment, there was an intense battle going on outside the true absolute beginning Demon Hall's base. Waves of terrifying battle shockwaves could be felt. There's a great battle ahead. Yin Luo's pretty face was full of shock when she sensed the battle ahead. She had never imagined that Mo Qingyun's hometown would be in the midst of a war. After a brief moment of surprise, Yin Luo felt relieved and thought to herself, no wonder the young palace master was in such a hurry to come back. It turns out that his hometown is at war, and he is worried that his friends and family in the Starfield boundary will be in danger during the war. Noticing the fierce battle ahead, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed up. He said to Yin Luo beside him, "I'm going to help my disciples. You guys protect yourselves. Don't let yourselves get involved in the battle." Mo Qingyun threw out these words. Then he turned into a stream of light and rushed into the battlefield. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Yin Luo's expression changed. She said nonchalantly, "It's just a battle between heavenly soldiers. Even if I can't defeat them, it's impossible for them to hurt me. However, this is the young palace master's hometown after all. It's better if I don't interfere." Yin Luo thought to herself and decided not to interfere. She decided to watch from the sidelines. She was worried that if she killed someone here, it would cause Mo Qingyun to overthink things. After all, he didn't belong here. Mo Qingyun nodded and told Lei Muan and the others about the recent events. Hearing Mo Qingyun's story, not only did Lei Muan's pretty face change, but even Yun Luo was shocked. She really did not expect that Mo Qingyun would mistakenly enter the village of Chu Jiangxiao's clansmen after arriving in the Heaven Realm. After telling everyone about his experience, Mo Qingyun's expression became serious and said, "This time, when I return to the Starfield boundary, I prepare to settle things with the Dark Demon race. Then, I'll go to the Heaven Realm and find a way to go to the mysterious Sky Holy Clan." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yin Luo's pretty face changed. She was once again shocked by Mo Qingyun's words. The mysterious Sky Holy Clan was a powerful clan in the Heaven Realm. It was one of the top forces. Even the 10,000 Demon Emperor Palace paled in comparison to it. Unexpectedly, Mo Qingyun wanted to go to the mysterious Sky Holy Clan. This idea was a little crazy. However, looking at Enchun, Yin Luo felt that there was some possibility. She felt that Mo Qingyun's trip to the mysterious Sky Holy Clan might have something to do with Enchun. Next, Mo Qingyun chatted with everyone. He talked about his recent experiences and his future plans.